What's going on, Fortnite fam? Welcome back to the Fortnite Champion Series. It is day number 2 of the finals, and after 6 matches, one trio will be crowned the FNCS Champions and be able to hold the Axe of Champions high. Of course, as always, you know who I am. My name is Zeke Mateus. Joining us here on the analyst desk, it's Reese, it's Levin. Gentlemen, after yesterday's performances, how are you guys feeling coming to today?
I'm feeling so good. You know, back a week ago in the semifinals with the reboot round, I thought the hype levels would have peaked. You know, those games were incredible. Yesterday's games, so close right now after the first 6 games, so close on that leaderboard. Anyone can take away with it. I genuinely can't wait to get into the games today.
Yeah, honestly, it was so great to watch yesterday, right? You know, coming into FNCS, you always wonder, which one of the big teams isn't going to perform the way you'd expect. But for the most part, like, all of the teams you'd expect to, come out and put on a great performance did so. And, we saw the standings changing non-stop. So it's really going to be nail-biting today. Who's going to be able to pull away? Who's going to take the lead and claim the Axe of Champions for themselves?
There's so much that we want to talk about, and we'll get there in just a second. First off, I just want to say, everyone at Party Royale, what's going on, everybody? It is so fantastic to be with you guys, as always. We hope you guys enjoy the show, and if you're watching on Twitch or YouTube or wherever, just know we love you. We're going to get into the moment, and we're going to get into the action in just a moment. But first, we got to talk about the broadcast itself. You guys know we start things off in here in EU. We have 6 matches ahead of us. Then we'll take a break, jump over to NA East for another 6, and we'll end the day in NA West and crown the final set of Trio Champions. Now, of course, how did we get here? What is the format? How much prize money's on the line? Don't even worry about it. We got Reese, we got Levin here, and they're going to break it all down for you.
How did we get here is the question. We're in our 5th week currently, but to start things off, our teams have gone through 3 weeks of qualifiers that had 4 rounds in them each, and a grueling 132 teams made that through to the semifinals. From the semifinals, 32 teams made it to the finals, and that one last slot was filled by the Reboot round team, which is incredibly exciting last week. So here we are. We are in finals. We're in day 2. There's 12 matches total. Yesterday, we had our first 6, like we've already mentioned. Today, we have the next 6, and at the conclusion of those last 6 games, so 12 total, the FNCS champions are going to be crowned, and the prize money is going to be dished out.
How will these players get points though, Reese? Look, if you look at your bottom right-hand side of the screen, there will be 2 points handed out per eliminations that players get. And once you hit that top 17, you will start to receive placement points. You will get 1 placement point per every single placement, all the way up until 4th place. And once you hit top 3, right, once you hit that top 3, you get a massive jump of +6 placement points, then +5, then +5 again, which totals to 30, right? 30 points given out for the victory hour, along with any eliminations you receive. A top heavy point format with, a load of points being given out for eliminations means that, players are going to be doing everything they can to get that top 3 because it is just so rewarding.
And you know what the reward is? Being able to walk away as the champion of the trios competition. It's prize money on the line for every trio here, but the Axe of Champions, an in-game pickaxe that can represent and tell everyone in your lobby, stay out of my way. I am a champion. That's what we're here for. That's what we have our eyes on, and we cannot wait to get through these next 6 games of action. Now, you guys know the FNCS is a global competition. We have other regions that have already wrapped up. You know what that means? We get to crown more FNCS champions, baby. That's right. We got to take a look. We've got Asia. We've got OCE. It's QJack. It's Nator. And it's Alice coming out as your new champions.
Yeah, these guys had a huge game as well. Into that last game, it was down to the wire as well. They were down by 12 points coming into that final game and ended up picking up a second with 9 eliminations just to go out over Fram's team, who is an ex-FNCS champion. This team is built up of QJack, who is the solo FNCS Invitational champion, and then our other teammates of Nator and Alice have been so close to getting that championship themselves, placing second in some other in duos, for example, and 4th in duos for Alice. So these guys have been on the edge so close. So Q-Jack is going to be over the moon to get that first place slot again, come back as the current FNCS champion. Nator and Alice, they're going to be happy because they've been so close as well. So really happy for these guys all round. And if we kind of mentioned already, they were battling out with Fram's team in second place there. He's been the FNCS champion since the solos. Unfortunately, lost it last season, was in the reach of claiming it back with a massive 3 victory rounds, but unfortunately, just missed out. However, second place is still a massive achievement.
Yeah, super exciting stuff for those guys, right? It's so exciting when it comes down to just that final game, nail-biting experiences. Taking a look here at the people who came from 6th to 10th. These guys all going to be securing themselves a nice chunk of that prizing. And look, regardless of where you placed, right, if you didn't get that extra champions, you're going to want to come back next season and fight even harder to try be that team that wins it, right? We talked about how Nato and Alice finally have it to their names now. There's going to be many other players in that region looking to do the same next season.
Well, absolutely, bro. And all the trios that can take this as a learning opportunity to say, look, we've made it all the way to finals. That in itself is a testament to our skill. We just need to come back next season stronger, learn, refine, and perhaps walk away the trios champion next season. Now, of course, I did mention before, we also have OCE's results. So it's time to crown another trio, baby. That's right. It's Muzz, it's Looter, it's Speedy, and Freeze 325 points.
Yeah, these guys were incredibly consistent. They weren't in that first place slot after the first day, but you know what, these guys have ended up being so consistent overall. They had 5 games out of the 12 where they placed in the top 3. And remember, that top 3 is where the big format kind of gets in. That's where the big placement points are. And so an average placement was 6.5 across 12 games was really impressive from them. And Muzz's placements overall have been so good. There's been barely any tournaments, be it a solo cash cup, trio cash cup, FNCS qualifier, anything that he's been out of the top 5. So this is like a very well-deserved first place from this team. In second, we had Sync, Sorif, and Volks. They were in that lead coming out of the first day as well, but unfortunately, it did not manage to pick up the first place slot. They played so good, and Sync, I spoke to him earlier. It's the second time in a row that he's come second in an FNCS, so he's obviously not too happy about it, but over the time, he's qualified through, because remember, the top 3 teams will qualify automatically for next season's finals as well. So, you know what? He's now feeling much more confident that going into that next season, he can take that first place slot.
Yeah, shout out to Muzzluter, man. These guys put in some work and it paid off. Nothing less than top 8 coming into that second day. Take a look there on your screens. In 6th place, Jinx, Alec, and Werber. They had a bit of a rough day 1. Right, bit of a rough day 1. They came back and they made something of it, right? They did what they could in day 2, and it was enough to push them into top 6. Good stuff from these guys, and I know for certain they're going to want to come back next season and try reclaim that sort of title, right? Become, the winners of the ESRB Champions. And even looking at the leaderboard there, you saw such fine margins, man. Just a couple points separating a lot of these teams, and so much money on the line. You don't want to be that team that thinks, oh, if only we did this, we could have just maybe moved up in the standings a bit. So congrats to all the players who participated. Great stuff from the OC region.
That's right. And now we shift our attention back here to Europe. We have 6 matches here ahead of us, and another trio waiting to be crowned the FNCS champions. We got to recap what happened yesterday, gentlemen. Just to kind of set the stage, we have representation from every single FNCS previous to this one. Andalek, Stompy, Wakey, Tayson, Janice, all players returning, looking to claim the title once again.
Yeah, and we've seen right now our leaderboard's looking very nice. In second, we kind of see Benji's team along with Mats on Amplify. They performed very well yesterday, picking up a massive victory royale from the low ground that we've just saw there, and that was in game 2. But in the top of our leaderboards currently, we've got Teak, Cami, and Seti as well going in. And these guys have been very consistent. They started a little bit slow, but coming into the last 3 games, they ended up being 3rd, 2nd, and 1st. And like I already mentioned a couple times, 3rd is where the big placement points start coming in. So the huge amount of placement points. You can see they are in the top of that leaderboard. A little bit less eliminations, and that's their typical play style. They are those guys who are going to be getting that top placement and put themselves up in the leaderboard, but not necessarily fragging out as hard.
Yeah, great stuff all around, right? I said at the top of the show, exactly what we expected, right? All of the top names sort of in the finals, really showing up, right? Taking a look at some of the players here who, maybe you'd expect to see a bit higher up. Andalek, Snazy, Squeeze, Eyedrop, Tayson, Mr. Savage. These are 2 really strong trios who, sort of didn't start off the way they would have expected to yesterday. And, now is the opportunity. There is day 2 for a reason. You have a chance now to sort of make up for it over the course of the next 6 games. And we know it's possible, because just like we saw with OCE, where we saw Jinx, Worthy, and Alex trio sort of have a bad day 1 and make up for it in day 2, those trios have the potential to do that today.
Yeah, and any teams you're seeing right here, these are not out of the running by any means. Last season, Flick, Anas, and Thomas HD were in the 15th slot coming into the second day. So they were currently where Nico is right now, and they ended the day in 3rd. So anything can really happen in these leaderboards right now, and I think any of these teams who are, they're not currently in the top 10, it's a new day. Hopefully they've reset their mentality, they've slowed things down, they've assessed their weaknesses, and maybe changed up their game plan a little bit. Nothing too major. You don't want to be starting anything new in the second day of the finals. Might not be the time to employ some new strategies, but hopefully they've kind of figured out the mistakes. They come in with a fresh mind, and they're feeling good for today, confident, because anything can happen, and these guys can definitely climb back up the leaderboards.
I mean, boys, the tension is in the air. You could farm this tension with a pickaxe for materials. I guarantee it. Now, of course, we know we like to take a look at predictions and kind of talk through which trios we think could be the next FNCS Trios champions. Now, I think what's super interesting here is this is the first time that Reese and Lemon have actually aligned on a trio. Reese, why is this?
Because our brains are so big. That's why. Our brains are incredibly massive right now. But you know what? It seems like our picks picking up to be correct, because they're currently sitting in 3rd place when we look at the leaderboards. And Hen, Janice, and Chapix, these guys have been popping off. We've seen Hen in particular hit some absolutely beautiful snipes out of the gate. But at the top of the day, for me in particular, I picked these guys because there hasn't been a single tournament they've played that they haven't placed outside of the top 5. So if we're going for a prediction for number 1, these guys have been as consistent as it gets. So definitely a top team, and showing up to date already in the finals in day 1, and I'm sure they'll do exactly the same going into today.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything that can stop these guys, right? Regardless of what zone pools where, these guys seemingly are able to perform, and I definitely expect them to continue to do that over the course of the 6 games today. Shio's gone with Flick and Naston Thomas, an incredibly strong pick. These guys are sitting in 4th place right now. We saw what they could do in heats, right? They completely dominated their heat, and they're looking to try and maybe sort of have a massive comeback like the way they did last season, right? Last season's trios, came into day 2 sitting in 15th place. They were able to turn things around and finished in 3rd. So they're going to be looking to try and, they're starting from a higher up position this time coming into day 2, right? And hopefully maybe they can sort of turn things around, push themselves, and really be the team to pull away and take the lead. Sancho's gone with Eyedrop, Tayson, and Mr. Savage. One of the trios who is a top trio. Do not get me wrong. Do not be deceived by the fact that these guys, aren't sitting in the top 5. These guys are a top trio. They had a rough day yesterday. It's going to be time for them to sort of pull something out of nowhere, right? They can't blame zones. They can't blame, sort of things out of their control. They've just got to be one of these trios who, regardless of what happens, they're going to be able to perform. And I do believe they have the ability to do that.
This is kind of like an anime in a lot of ways, right? You look across and you're like, oh, here's the main character of the story, I think, or maybe that's the main character. But in every shadow that is cast, some new enemy, some new trio could rise up and say, listen, you forgot about us. Now, I'm very excited coming into the day, because we have to remember that this is a finals competition. This is a very tippy top, the 1%, if you will. Now, off of yesterday's performance, we saw Pink, we saw Trulix, and Stompy. They came out super strong with the Victory Royale. They had height, but then the rest of the lobby was like ready to answer, right? And I think that's what we kind of have to focus on. We see height with a lot of games, but when we're looking at that 1%, Reese, a lot of these trios are going to be like, no. Oh, I see you're making a play. We were doing a thing, but that's more important right now.
The issue with Pink's, Trulex, and Stompy's gameplay yesterday was like they started off so good, right? They had a 10 elimination in 1st place. They took that height early. They were sitting up in that top spot. They felt confident. They did pretty much exactly the same thing going into game 2. However, they did not have the ammo to do it. So they were on height. They didn't have the ammo. And then, they placed all the way up until 2nd, which was good, but they get 1 elimination from height, which is, your average is going to be 5+. So didn't manage to get the refresh on the ammo, so couldn't apply pressure down. And that's when Benji picked up that great Victory Royale moment that they did in game 2. Game 3, they attempted the same strat where they kind of were low on materials and they just played for height regardless. It didn't end up taking it, and Pink ended up going down, and then they ended up trying to go for it a second time during the first moving. So, for this team in particular, it looked like there was a little bit of like kind of one trick. And after those games, we saw them kind of go down the leaderboard a little bit more. So hopefully today they've come back and tried to figure that out. And, there's other teams like Kami, Seti, and Teak who did pretty much the opposite of that, who, you know, started a little bit slow, fixed their game plan, and then in that last 3 games, 3rd, 2nd, and 1st, just by playing low and mid ground over the kind of typical play style. So hopefully we're going to see all different types of teams like adapt to their situations today.
What do you think, Levin?
Well, look, I think we're going to see probably much of the same. I think if you look at the teams who were successful yesterday over the course of those 6 games, the teams who are sort of really being able to prioritize and get good position in some of these earlier zones, right? You know, recently I broke it down after a couple of the games where we've seen so many teams on the storm, man, right? So many teams who aren't getting into zone relatively early. You know, you're sort of rotating alongside another team and there's potential for things to go wrong there. And so, look, who's going to be able to realize, hey, look, nobody was really getting into zone early last time out. Can we be that team to maybe use a vehicle to rotate in quickly and, you know, take advantage of the fact that there's not really anyone taking that sort of initiative? Those are the teams who are going to be successful today.
Oh, man. Well, Fortnite fam, we ain't got to wait that long because it's time. We're boarding the battle bus. Find your seats. We're kicking off the competition in style. We've got Sancho West in his championship gold. It's Shia Wager. You know he's got a floral pattern button up. Let's say hello to our casters. Over to you guys.
It's been an everlasting war this season of the FNCS, and we are now in its endgame. Welcome to day 2 of the finals, and after these 6 games, we'll have crowned a champion in the region of Europe.
It is Shia Wager and Sancho West bring you all the action, breaking it all down. And boy, we have a treat for you. Thank you so much for joining us in Around the World. It is day 2, game 1, and it is time to see who's going to put a big time effort to move up that leaderboard. I'm telling you, Shia, there's going to be a lot of big names. I think they're going to make some big time movement here in day 2.
It's all about sending that message that you would not really fall asleep after that 24-hour kind of, you know, shake-up period between days. Instead, Kemi and Teak hold their lead in first place. We saw the desk talk about how they've been so consistent over and over again. Sancho, the last 3 games were basically 3rd, 2nd, then 1st.
Here is their obstacle here in day 2. Knifer's trio has cut their Kami split in half. So a lot of their loot that they really bank on is not going to be as powerful as it used to be. Now, Reese here talked about Pink. Now, Pink's trio, yes, they've been going for height a lot of the time, but they cause all the other height teams in the region to get down. And the teams like Analyst, the team like Thomas HD, the Hens trio, those are the ones that love going for height, and they always get answered with an RPG. So let's keep in mind for that. As well, the change here for Flick, Thomas HD, and us is that Ingram's trio has been contesting them. Let's see if Ingram kind of backed off a little bit because he was not successful going in those pushes.
Absolutely. And if it's your first time just watching competitive Fortnite in general, it's very similar to the main game. It's just a little bit more serious from time to time. So in the early game, it's all about, you know, owning your POI, just like you guys would do in your games. You know, as Sancho mentioned, sometimes another team can come in and cut it off. For Flick, Anas, Thomas HD, it's nice. The only added thing that changes the way Fortnite's played in competitive is Storm Surge. So all these teams will have to go and get damage. If they don't do enough, this magical lightning comes down from above and damages them. So you'll notice after, you know, Chapik's on screen right now with Hen and Janice is done looting, these guys will go out, try to get that damage. That is the name of the game.
We definitely got to take a look at the first zone reveal here. That will determine a lot here as a battle does break out. And it is a battle between Advise trio and Seti's trio. Some former teammates here in this battle here is kind of getting crazy. I can't believe that this is kind of breaking out so early. It's just showing you how there is a hole in the Kami split and you're caught out in the distance all alone. A trio will push you. And it looks like Arthur's trio has made that decision here. And it's up to Teak here to hold on. This is the first place team here, Trial, that is in trouble here in game 1.
It's a 1v3 as well, but everyone is low on the bottom side. Seti will get finished in just a minute, and that could have some big siphon that will not help Teak whatsoever. He has basically a timer to get these eliminations. I'm not sure if that team down below with Advise, Cubics, and Artur has heals. If they do, this will spell trouble. There's a chance here for Teak, Sancho, but I'm not sure if he can honestly do this.
No, it's not looking good here considering that there's no shields. Oh my goodness. Oh, another team is coming in the distance, trying to some shots here. So Teak now using that flopper has one opportunity to maybe hold on. And it's Slender Trio. This is from Retail Row. Retail Row is coming in. They heard the noise and they're rotating in and they want a piece of that action.
Bottom team will go away right now. Teak is still at the top of this base, still at the precipice of the podium of EU today. The issue though, is that his time at first place might be short. Consistency is a very good game plan, but if you fall short in just even one game, your entire tournament result could go awry.
So many adjustments are happening that we will break down as Teak does fall. So essentially what's happened is Kubix has been landing at Pleasant Park for this entire first day one. And day two, they had more people visit Pleasant Park.
Wow.
So now they decide to move, and look, this is another adjustment. Reason had a great strategy revolving around pushing Ingram, but now that Ingram has moved, he's gonna have to go ahead and push Kinzel there in Coral Castle. And so far, it's not gonna work, because right now they lose one a trade, two trios lose trade. Now Deceptos goes down, Kinzel goes down. Advise, there's some big time names. Advise goes down in feed way back below, but let's focus here as Vadil and Noah Riley clean up the mess, and they're gonna be able to pick up their other trio, make it reboot them. But look at these, man. It's kind of crazy now. You see Kibo's trio. There is so many trios here in Salty Towers. Where is Savage's trio? This is their home.
If you guys are wondering why we're surprised and you didn't watch day one, basically everything's changed in day two. All the trios you would expect to be in certain places aren't there. There's new players there.
Wow.
And Sancho, you're using the word adjustments. Adjustment would be like a small wave, right? On the beach that might change a few things. These are tsunamis of change coming in. This is a completely different finals.
Dude, it's like these trios have decided to cannonball. There's no like finesse, there's no like high dive, there's no like small splash. No, they're going for a big time splash because they need to. So the question will be, where is Savage's trio? You know, Cisse's trio, they're the one they went to Pleasant Park a couple of times. They dipped into that there at the end of game 6. So it's so fascinating to see how these trios are doing their best. They're making these adjustments. But man, one thing this is going to work for is the teams that have a strategy like Badil's trio.
Yeah, and these guys haven't had that strategy really working out the best for them on the first day. Currently 5th right now on the leaderboard. We would expect them actually to be higher. They could never actually go to fight other people as much because no one wanted to drop around them, Sancho. That's how aggressive these guys are. No one wanted any of the POIs around them. That's why they flopped all the way over towards, Coral Castle, got all that elimination down onto Kinzel, which is unfortunate. And now they have that game plan rolling in that we usually see them in every finals. This means we have an aggressive trio on the field that's not going to stop pushing boxes.
Wow, man, I cannot wait to see how everyone's changing up. We did see in the feed earlier, Pink did go down, get knocked, and it was the Vior trio. So Hydro 16 being challenged. There's so many of the top of the board being challenged, and already the #1 spot going down. We're seeing this battle right here in Lazy Lake. I think Joe is now finally putting into this fray. Joe has been here before, though. Joe's trio has contested Lazy Lake. Blackie's trio hasn't been finding some success out of here. And also Karma has not found success here. They've been going down early, kind of get wounded going into the 3rd and 4th circle. So this is going to be a big engagement for Legends trio to survive Joe's pressure.
Joe's just outside the top 10 right now as well. That's where we see an increase in prize money as well. It's a huge fight for him. It's just really a 1-point game all across the leaderboard as well. Today, the points are just so close. If you guys missed that format as well, basically 30 placement points alongside 2 points for every elimination. So you can really change and carve the way you can move up the standings and rankings. Still though, it's going to be difficult. These are some of the top teams. If you haven't watched Karma Legends or Aware before either, they're very good at playing off of each other's energy, each other's angles. You'll notice now they're all on that low ground, making sure no one can dive in on one single person. They'll have to challenge all 3 at the same time.
And this is all adjustments based on VOD reviews. It's not about where the storm is. It's just about finding opportunities to get storm surge tags. The whole entire day one, they were doing it by kind of perching up in forts. Now the EU region has decided to let's take us down to some up close and personal box fights.
Now, I know it's called Lazy Lake, but don't let the name fool you. This POI can get very, very active in a few moments. A lot of the people around here like to visit it like a central hub, get a few items, spend some money at the market. And we'll notice it. You see the map right now. A few teams at Caddy Corner, Retail Row. As that happens, though, all the way towards the top right side, Fnatic Lane, Younes and Robnik, who came through from Steamy Stacks, the yellow arrows on the map screen on the top right side of the circle. They're in a long-range fight and still not in the zone.
Yeah, and now my question is, where is Andretta's trio? They were the ones that were always literally by game 6, they conditioned that entire northeast part of the map. There was nowhere you're gonna go. They had the north houses as well, all to themselves. Lame's trio literally was Nomads. They went all the way down south to Cape Cod by game 6 and got pushed by Analyst's trio there. So they're making adjustments. The same thing with Malibuca. Malibuca went all the way down to Cape Cod as well. They did not like it. They had a fight. Andalex came in and cleaned them all up. So all these adjustments are going to have some, like Shayo said, tsunami type effects here on the leaderboard. Already mentioned the #1 spot went down. That's just so huge, Shayo.
Yeah, and the reason I use Tsunami as well is because once it starts, it doesn't stop, and it's always moving forward. It looks like Shizo God is also kind of like a tsunami, the way he's pushing Lame's box. Almost stopping. They have a little bit of a pinch scenario going down right now as well. That's when one person's on one side, the other two are trying to bite from the back as well. Lame can't actually edit out anywhere or find a break. This is troublesome. This is just the first game, and it's already this difficult.
It feels like these trios are connected to the hip. They have so many battles throughout all the type part of the map, and this is the first time they're fighting here. It's unbelievable to see these two trios who are getting up, scrappy up the leaderboard, fight here. Considering last time they fought, they're at Cape Cod.
Yeah, I mean, right now, though, Lame's doing a very good turtle impression, but the shell cracks. Udas finds a way in, shoots him down, and now I think it's a 1v3. Robnik with just 50 HP. Not sure if it's going to be possible. He runs into the storm. He gets sent back to the lobby. Shizo God, flawless eliminations right there. Actually, no, I think they lost one team member, but they'll find a reboot van, and they'll be right back in the game.
This is what we're talking about. Day 2 here of the FNCS. Man, so many people want this. Last season, we saw some major adjustments. Thomas HD and Flickin' and Nos, Mongrel Metro and Taysom were literally running away with everything. They were putting up some big time point performance. And Thomas HD and Flickin' and Nos said, that's enough. We're going to go ahead and land Stark Industries. And they basically vaulted themselves. They had a big pop-off performance that kicked them up into the day. With the damage output like Thomas HG, who leads day 1 with 19 elims, that kind of firepower landing at that power position last season was a huge thing. So that's why you're seeing teams make these kind of major adjustments, because a big pop-off performance can essentially net you thousands of dollars, and in some cases, hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Absolutely. And remember these 4 letters as well, because he's been against Thomas HD, EGRM, or Egram, like we like to call him right here. He's going to be going for a quick fight over at the desert. Not inside zone just yet. Mawaka's going to be the last one alive here from Light and Mr. J. These guys all land on the top left side of the map, so they're all finally clashing. Their roadways intersecting here as they try to make it towards the zone. I have one teammate picked up just shortly. The ball is in Mawaka's field. The issue is this game is not fair for him. This is not just a net with 2 teams on either side. It's just 1 man versus basically 3, and you can't win that fight.
No, that's why you're seeing a sanding opportunity here. Maybe the tunnel up, but Kibo says not so fast, my friend. Going ahead and dig right into the sand and find himself an opportunity to convert some siphon and, more importantly, 2 points. Igram's trio is turning around their fate here, and with another nice successful wipe right there as we have some battles. But man, Mr. J's trio, who started off the day 1 with 0 points and ended the day with 0 points, looks like so far that momentum has carried over into day 2. But they've been really consistent other than that, finishing in the top 10. No doubt they have it in them to be consistent, but Shayo, this is literally a new slate of play. The meta has changed here in day 2.
Yeah, and I'm like that you mentioned that, right? You're talking about last season's FNCS in general. Now there's no more power in the POIs. As we mentioned yesterday, the power is in the players, the strategies they have. Harpoon, box dive invasions. That's what Awares is trying for. Unfortunately, it doesn't work. What did we see before? We left Lazy Link with 2 teams. Look at the mini map now. We've got the entire Fortnite community sharing 3 buildings.
And Levin must have some telepathic abilities, because he said that people will be fighting for center. So no longer people are perched on the edge trying to look for storm surge tags. They're using their mechanics up in business. Look at that. So many trios in Lazy Lake dead center. Now we're going to see who's going to rotate to the 3rd zone here to center and set that up. Expect Pablo's trio, expect Trulik's trio, but I do expect many, many more, because when they do in heat, they were successful. Like CRR found a lot of success going center early.
It also kind of looks like 2 different gravity fields happening on the map. One pulling everyone into Lazy Lake, and if you remember that map image, another one pushing everyone to the outside portions of the circle. You don't want to use extra mats to move in. Materials so important to play the end game. You need them for defense and offense. And now we talked about Storm Surge. That purple lightning is striking anyone who's playing too passive and hasn't done damage right now. You have to be careful and stay above the threshold. Benji Fishy's team is 195 damage above. That's a very comfortable space. still, they'll have to hunt for more tags. You can see it dropping down all the way down to 165 already.
And now you're seeing that they were able to get some Storm Surge with Amplify having an elim here. Now you're seeing the points there, that little 2 gold point. That is for the day. We will have a cumulative leaderboards going forward.
Absolutely. So they already got one full elimination on Amplify's side. This is also your second place team's perspective that you're watching. Currently, they have a chance to take over first because we saw Seti, Cammy, and Teak go down. They're only about 4 points behind, now just 2 with that elimination as well. So Benji might be able to take the lead off this game. Just have to be careful because today so far, what we've seen, Sancho, right, or just in yesterday, Benji going down. Sometimes Amplify going down. They have to be careful.
I asked what was going on with Andretta's trio, and look at their loadout. Something must have happened at their drop where they had to retreat and back away. They do not have power, they do not have surge. They're in shambles, and down goes Andretta, and Refsguard is still feeling that pain of Storm Surge. And I just feel like this trio has always been wounded in day one, and their rotations have not had the amount of bandwidth that they needed to breathe. Because what ends up happening is these kind of beeline rotations get interrupted by these high-level trios who are making dead side rotations like Hen's trio and things of that sort have thoroughly disrupted Andretta's run. If you go back to the VOD reviews, they always have a dangerous neighbor on their rotation, sometimes Thomas HD.
Yeah, they're flipping their POIs back and forth as well. It just gets really awkward to have a sound footing when playing the game. Still though, I'm just watching out for Amplify, Matzo, and Benji, Train H and NRG, the combination. We're basically going to take first in just a few moments, one more elim, and they can do it.
And why they've been so successful is because so many teams are fighting for height, and Trulix's trio with Stompy and Pink have been pushing people down with RPGs. And that game plan for Train H, Matzo, Amplify, and Benji Fishy is basically let them come down to us and we will clean them up. And that is what they're being so successful in, is every time a team gets down there, they're in shambles, and they've been rotated in. Like Reese mentioned in game 2, the height team was Trulix's team. They had no way to pressure down below, and that was just the perfect scenario, the perfect storm scenario for Amplify's plan there. He basically was able to wipe out a lot of people down below.
And while these guys are kind of in a hurricane surrounded by other teams inside the top 20, other teams looking to be more aggressive, they'll be the eye in the center trying to play a little bit more passively, trying to not have that much action. On the outside, we just got the perspective of Hen, Chapix, and Janice. They're going to be rotating in just a little moment, but everyone else has the same journey to make. They have a max zone pull, and they're all side by side. They'll be clashing, like rotating tops in a little dome back and forth as they make their way towards the zone.
It's so fascinating to see. Everyone was talking about getting max pulls and max pulls. Well, because everyone's fighting style is the same. Everyone's comfortable fighting on edge, going for Storm Surge tags on the backside of Storm for late rotations. Now, because of these Storms are kind of pushing so far to the coastline or to the center, you're having a lot of people on that line. And then everybody's, because they're not moving towards center, of course you're going to get max rotational pulls. And it's going to be so dangerous. The 5th zone, things of that sort, are always going to be so dangerous because you're always on the edge. We all know center priority will get you those short rotations. And man, Refsguard, he's going to have to clutch up here as a solo.
It looks so sad. He's so lonely. Where's his team? They got to focus on Surge next game, man. I don't like seeing my man by himself so alone. He'll figure it out. Props though to stay alive till that point. No shield.
Oh yeah.
Maybe he can make it through. If you see the numbers on the top left of your screen, 58 players alive, 22 trios still left in the lobby. Once that number of trios hits 17, that's where those big placement points start getting handed out as well. Right now, Benji, Amplify, Matzo in the best position in this entire base right now. They're from the bottom side, just beaming up, clawing up towards these upper boxes, trying to drop down anyone, get more elims and more loot.
Now we're seeing the teams. We've seen Chapix go down. The Thomas HD trio, you're seeing that team. Hen and Thomas HD, they're together. They're that neighbor rotation sitting right there. They know exactly that the dead side's valuable, so that's why they're on the north side having this battle. And anyone that invested in the center down in Retail Row, hey, you got to come on back, brother, and come on down to this congested area in Zone 5. It's the half in and half out, half in the safe zone, half in the storm side, and so many people are already dead center here. And Refsguard, holding on as much as possible, just falls right before the placements were almost being doled out. Tough ride right there, but this is what I'm talking about. Janice, Hen, and Chapix. Now Chapix is back to his feet here. 2 elims so far for Hen. Now they're gonna have to make this rotation, but I'm thinking because so many people are already there box fighting, they're not gonna have an opportunity to hit Janice and Hen and Chapix. This is gonna be a very decent rotation, long as someone doesn't turn and hit them, as they do take some tags here.
Always gonna be a box watching. You can never assume things get to happen for free, but it's fun to believe. They finally get in though. This is pretty much for free. It was just one big pot that basically allowed them to make this rotation. But I'm not talking about rotation. I'm talking about overtaking the whole server. Look at Thomas HD. I think he just ate a snipe, but it doesn't matter. These guys have position. And Sancho, when we see this team up top, do they ever drop down?
No, the only time they drop down is the Trulix's RPG comes in. Sometimes you see someone retake height near that 8th zone, but these are the kind of players that know how to execute really well. Now they're in danger there as you see Blackie. Blackie is a little bit higher. Now what's going to happen is the zone pulls towards Anas. You're going to expect Blackie to basically kind of leapfrog right on top of them. One bouncer, boom, and they have height. So it's up to Anas, Flick, and Thomas HD to essentially beam Blackie's trio out of the air if that happens here at the first moving zone.
My bad for calling that early. Was sitting slightly very low in my chair, so I didn't get to look too high for Blackie's trio. They even invested so much for this. Who gets it though? No one gets it. Everyone has to move.
Okay, everyone has to move. So that bouncer play, that leapfrog is not an option, but they still bouncer essentially all the way to the front of the zone if they want it. But expect that team who is at height right now, Blackie's trio, who's above Noah's, is to basically wait just a little bit longer for someone else to establish a point. Then they'll go and kind of cap right on top of them. But it looks like Erican's going to elect to, he's going to stretch that out a little bit. He's going to stretch that tarp a little bit to give him a little bit more airspace, so to speak, to go over.
Oh my, Anas, Flick, and Thomas, they'll get into a fight as the zone starts to move. That's one of the top 5 trios in trouble right now.
Vidil's there.
Blackie, they roll in. Vidil, Noah Riley are following right behind. They can jump right on top. Mid-air RPG. Okay. Noah Riley, you're too dynamic. He doesn't actually get too much off of it, but now that high ground team knows what they have in store. They're still going to push forward straight towards the top. You and Blackie and DKS still hold it down. Another RPG comes in, does not drop them. Noah Riley with a big bouncer, but he gets beamed low on HP. Vidil falls all the way down as well, and now Noah's left in a 1v3.
Man, the battle for height is going to leave both of these competitors wounded. Noah with the RPG now down to 1 HP. Can he hold on? And I think he's going to go for like a last second RPG play. No mats. He does get some bridge release reasons right there. Oh no, he goes down. So now it's up to Vidil and Reason to carry the torch, but there's no RPG at play at height, Chayo.
Yeah, so they got height at a big cost. Janice and Hen as well. Lose Chapix, but this is not bad. This is according to plan. Almost every game, we see this trio operating as just a duo. It's any one of the 2 players, they just end up popping off. I'm not sure why. They have these weights basically attached to their legs to slow them down, but I guess their kicks hit harder. Let's see what they got all the way in the middle of these boxes.
It's basically 2 solo superstars, essentially. They could be apart. They don't need to be together, but they will get necessary, crucial buckets when they need it most.
And there is more duos still alive in the lobby following suit. It's Reason and Vidil up top, Flick, and I believe Thomas down below as well, who are lost with, Anas not being alive. We'll see how these guys can hold it out against trios all around the server as well. Flecking's trio, all alive looking for shots right now. Malibuka's there too. Benji's fishing in the same box as Anas. He's trying to play a little bit of defense. Amplify went down. Flick and Anas right beside each other. They're looking for the shots real quick. Anas, low HP on the bottom right of your screen. Another player right in front of him, that's Snazy. He can't touch the storm at all. It's gonna take him out. He finds a way to stay low, but it's not possible. He gets deleted.
And now it's up to Vidil and Reason here. They're going to have the opportunity to close out this match with the victory royale and a huge elim point here, but they have to do it as a duo. Look at down below. Hen, this is perfect opportunity for Hen to pop off. Can Flick pop off? No, he gets popped instead. Goes down to Snazy, who is a solo hit himself. So that's going to be a big score for Analyx's trio. If Snazy could stay on his feet, these are the opportunities that you could rack up those points you got no business to. We got Kiko's trio in full force down below. Snazy is on the mid ground fighting for his life, trying to hold on as much as possible. Now he has no choice here but being wood builds, and if someone sees him and they get him right down, gets bopped. Hen has an opportunity now to kind of hold on, but I think Reason sees him, and Reason's gonna push down below.
Janice went down too, so one of the biggest threats not available. It's basically almost a full game of solo for Hen, but a full trio alive down below. So 3v2 v1.
Don't count Hen out. He can make a miracle happen here in this game.
Still 10 elims though for the high ground
Miracle
trio.
gone.
High ground 2, the miracle. It's absolutely stopped the dispatch. Kiko takes a big shot straight to the face. They still have control of low ground. One of the best places to be inside the 9th zone in an end game. Reason and Vidil might have to just drop down into that box. Kiko going for the med kit play. He's trying to go for a mini heal off so he has enough HP to go for the fight here. Reason and Vidil up top can't actually puncture any builds down below. It's all brick and metal. They'll have this impasse still here for the final seconds.
This will be whoever wins this will be the second victory out here in these finals.
Okay, we'll see exactly what ends up dropping down here in just a second. Still kind of a stalemate between both sides. The dual Reason trying to just puncture these boxes more with shots, with a little bit of piece control, but it's not possible. Reason drops down from the right side, gets Kiko. He gets traded. I think it's a 1v2 now. No, it might just be a 1v1 Slender versus Vidil. Okay, let's see what we got. Big bouncer, big shot, 100, followed by more. Vidil is insane, and he doesn't lose those.
Holy 13 elims and the big time tracking to get that big shot. Wow, that is what the kind of finish that they have, and they were able to do it with that crazy RPG play, bouncing right over, sneaking up behind Blackie's trio. That's what I'm talking about. That's the action I want here in the finals in day 2, Shio.
5 letters, 1 word, style for Vidil. Woo! That was just absolutely sick from the trio. I don't even think we were watching trios that game. That felt like duos and solos the whole way through.
It did, man. There was so much chaos, so much action, and hey, we could only keep up with what we can. We are gonna need the help of the analyst desk to break it down more. Let's kick it to Zeke.
Yo, Vidil with the massive 100 off the enemy trying to launch pad up, or rather bouncer up, bro. We were just losing our minds, dude. What an incredible start here on the second day of finals. You know you have 6 games ahead of you. You know you're wanting to come out in first. And what better way than to drop 13 eliminations and a VR in game number 1?
Incredible. And you know, one of the things that I think we kind of missed a little bit there was when Resin dropped down behind them at the end, he actually managed to pick up 2 of them, not just 1. Yeah. He managed to pick up 2 of them, making it that 1v1 situation at the end. And man, we kind of talked about this a little bit yesterday when we were looking at the other victory royale that this team had. Aim, 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 mechanics, mechanics, mechanics. Like, these guys are winning in those 1v1 situations, and it's clearly proving here today.
Yeah, these guys are phenomenal, right? One of my favorite things about what was so effective for these guys that game, you know, not really goes down. They're playing as a duo, and, you know, they have so much ammo available. One of my pet peeves as an analyst is when I watch a team, they have, you know, 400 shots available, and they're not taking them. You know, you can't save your ammo for next game. You know, you got to use it in the game you're playing. And these guys had relentless pressure, right? You know, some of the trios down below would have had no idea that it was a duo above them, right? Because these guys were constantly spraying, applying pressure, and it ends up leading to that victory. Great stuff. Also, congrats to my Portuguese Magnificos, man. Slender in them, great stuff.
Yeah.
They picked up a victory royale yesterday. They pick up a victory royale to start off, or not a victory royale, they get second to start off today. So good stuff from those guys as well.
Yeah, and you don't even need the VR necessarily, right? Obviously, picking up that additional 5 points that separates first and second is going to kind of give you a little bit of a buffer. But yeah, I mean, there's just so much action, and it's so interesting to kind of come into the first day because you can tell a lot of these trios are thinking like, okay, we can't make a mistake. If we do anything wrong here, it's going to cost us a lot. And we see a lot of these teams, even halfway through Reese, we're kind of watching the back. You're like, dude, this is so congested. There's so many trios that are just not wanting to move.
Yeah, and you know, that's kind of what happens, unfortunately, when you have these far side zones. And, you know, looking at some of how these top teams coming into the day kind of took part of that. You know, we saw Cammy's team, Sei and Teak, actually be the first trio to go out in the first game, unfortunately. And, you know, this is what's happened. Teams are adapting. And we saw kind of at this point, you know, Cammy split, very, very split, as the name suggests. These guys aren't landing close together, and teams are capitalizing. We saw Advise's team actually triple land on the Slurp Truck near Coliseum and instantly push into Cammy. They know where he's dropping, and that's an easy elimination. They ended up picking up both eliminations at that point, but unfortunately, both teams ended up going down. So for our first team coming into the game, didn't actually end up playing too well.
Yeah, from first place yesterday to being the first to go down, it's not a great start. Taking a look here though, Hen, Chapix, Janice, these guys did have a decent game, right, to kick things off. I think they're going to be looking to sort of build on what they just achieved. I think they just got, third place there? So a really good start. Some highlight plays as usual. It's exactly what you expect out of these guys. They are in amazing form at the moment. And then the VR there, what a shot there from the deal. Great stuff. Take a look at the leaderboard. Changes. This is what happens for Cammy, City, and Teak. I talked at the beginning about how there's such fine margins, so much potential for things to change. And with that victory out, Vidil, O'Reilly, and Reason will pull away just for now. Hen, Chapix, and Janice shortly and closely behind them as well.
Yeah, and all of our top three are so close right now. 9 points between the top three going into the next 5 games. But if you notice, all 3 of these names were in that endgame playing as a duo. Shio kind of mentioned it a little bit, but we saw Noah Riley go down at the top when he's going for height, and he had the rocket launcher. But the boys still managed to pick up that big victory royale. But Hen, Janice were also playing as a duo, and then also they lost Matzo from Benji and Amplify as well. So all duos playing in the endgame and still managing to secure a ton of points. It just shows how good these teams really are.
Yeah, I want to highlight Anderlecht, Snazy, and Squeeze there in 9th, right? They got 4th in that final game there. And so to see, what they can do, they had a great start yesterday. They had another similar-ish start where, they had a really good first game and things sort of tailed off towards the back end. So can they sort of, sustain this level of performance over the course of the next, 5 games? If they can, then I'm sure they're going to push way higher than 9th. But it's all about being able to put that into motion. Keycoat, Slender, and Mosh, that victory out pushes them way back up. They were nowhere near the top 10 when we looked on the leaderboard. Now they are, right? So just one victory, not even victory, I keep saying a victory, they didn't win the game. Just one second place alone, is enough to push you so far up the standings there.
I think you were trying to project onto them. Hopefully these guys are going to pick up that victory royale. They got it yesterday. Their games yesterday were interesting because they were actually battling back and forth between Anderlecht, Snazy, and X-Squeeze. We see Kiko's team landing in Retail Row, and then we see also Anderlecht's team landing down in Kai Corner. So they're kind of opposing Storm Surge strategies, right? They need to fight against each other. But in that game, they ended up actually not. So both performing very well. And you said in that game, they were similar to the first day tomorrow. They started 1st in the first game yesterday, and 4th in the first game yesterday, and 4th today as well.
Anything goes right now, Fortnite fam. With 5 games left, who will be our new FNCS Trios champion? We're getting closer to find out. But for now, we're aboard the Battle Bus once again and back into the action. It's Shy Wager, it's Sancho West. Over to you guys.
Who will be our Trios FNCS champion might be the hardest question to answer because the variables are changing each and every game.
And how chaotic those variables were changed. I mentioned that yesterday, that this kind of formula, it's all set, everyone had it, but literally the entire formula has changed. We're no longer edge fighting here on storms. We're no longer hanging out trying to get simple storm tags from a distance. We are getting in the nitty gritty. We are getting right up in people's grills and trying to get them out of this competition with some aggressive play. Just seeing Advise's trio literally land on Cammy's on that split on one of those trio members, like that in itself shows you how aggressive people are. And for the first time in a long time, Shio, we may have a zone being up north. And that's going to be spending some great news for Hen's trio, who's been always making these crazy south migrations, right? Finally, they get one in their backyard. So it's going to be interesting to see if they're able to walk away with the victory royale. And one thing to point out, though, is we saw that Hen and Janice were going in there basically in that final movings as basically as duos, right? And what would we say? They will find a way to get some good placement out of that and get some elims. And they ended up in 3rd place, Hen getting all the way to that point. And that's what's been working so well for them. And if you try to do that formula or somebody else, it just doesn't work. It just doesn't make sense. It shouldn't work. But Hen, they end up making it work so well.
This is like the one math class that I love because I can actually understand it and follow it through, right? Just expecting good players to play great. I feel like I'm actually at home and now I'm learning. Still, though, for Matzo, Amplify, Benji, that last game, huge for them to take over at first at one of the best positions. They were beaming down below. They get knocked down 1 tier to 3rd now. They're still kind of in that running. It's just 5 points of a difference. But you have to remember, Sancho, right? When these teams have an opportunity to steal a game over, when they have an opportunity to be the guys controlling the lobby and they miss it, that hurts because that opportunity doesn't come every single time.
Speaking of opportunities, looks like Lame's trio and Malibuka's trio have decided to see their luck at Steamy Stacks, and I think Andretta has decided to, like, hey, I'm out of here. Now we're going to take a look at the overall scope of things and seeing if there's any other kind of engagements happening. And that middle zone, that is Michael's trio, and they have been doing so well throughout this entire day one. Their success has been led to a lot of smart rotations and taking advantage of those crystals.
Absolutely, those crystals letting you just jump back and forth, the 0-point crystals, of course. have so much more flexibility. That overhead map shot was just really cool too. You're noticing that a lot of trios are splitting more and getting more, being a little bit greedy off their POIs.
Oh yeah, this is huge.
It makes it look like a beautiful painting though. It's nice. We get art inside Fortnite amongst all the action.
Yeah, Matzo is never really that far off the coast. It's usually Amplify is the one that's that far. Amplify literally sits on the edge and he just fishes. That's how far as he goes. Because you have Paco's team kind of landing in that logjam, but we all been knowing that Paco has been going all the way to center as fast as possible. Those kind of teams that play for center, they're usually there 5 to 6 minutes. It's the teams like Benji's teams and teams like Hen's teams and Vidil's teams. I would say they'd be in their POI for 8 minutes, but it looks like all calm is chill on this POI. For the first time, there is a moment of peace.
No, this is not peace. Have you ever been on like a customer support call before, Sancho?
All the time.
You get angrier the more you have to hold. I guarantee those trios are just, just steaming inside Steamy Stacks, waiting for the fight to break down, pumping up their loadouts. Past that, though, these guys got their call answered. They're at the help desk. Artox, Pizza, and Ardent might not even need a helping hand here. They're looking pretty good in this fight. Ooh. Never mind, reverse that situation. Never mind, double reverse that situation. We're now looking at them just taking apart Vior piece by piece. And in a matter of, 7 seconds, that fight is over.
Vior still haven't found a home in this map. They've been looking all over the place. And Artox, Pizza, and Ardent have coming from Misty Meadows. So they saw someone in the water that they weren't recognized hanging out in their POI and they decided to push them. You're seeing more aggression. You're seeing more people taking up close and personal. It's just such a different type of style. Now, Julix and Charentos, they were landing out there in the Colossal Coliseum in day one. They moved to Pleasant Park at the end of the day. They found some success. There was multiple trios here, but right now they basically pushed out Advisor's trio. And Advisor's trio, like they mentioned, went all the way down towards to harass the Cammy split.
Yeah, this is kind of like, one of those reality TV shows, Life Swap, right? So it's cool to see how these guys are playing in each other's POI
swap, right?
Yeah, POI swap. It's just so different because these guys just leave so early. We saw Cubics yesterday. He spent a long time there, enjoying the home, cooking some food in the kitchen. You'll notice 2 cars. These guys are gone. Maybe up keeping metal. Nope, they're skipping that. Toronto's taking snipes at the passenger side. They're looking for more across the map.
And we see Savage just that mini map. Savage is going to his Storm Stats tags part right there, his Storm Search tags part. Savage has talked about, he knows exactly where to go. That little mountain that they just passed, that's where Savage is. It's good to see Savage here. What's been hurting Savage's trio is essentially it's always somebody in his spots there for Storm Surge. So far, clean right now, looking good. He needs to make some movement here. I think this is his opportunity for that trio to make some movement on the board. Because look at the leaderboard already, Chayo. First place was Vidil's trio, 171 points. Second place, Hen's trio. Third place is Amplify, 162 points. Seti, Kemi, Teak, who got 0 points game 1, just slid down to 4th. Not too bad there with 147 points. And Flickanos and Thomas HC right on the heels, 141.
I got to message the back end and see if we can support these many points being dropped down by the first place team. We're almost at 200, and including this game, we have 5 more to go. So, I'm not even sure what records are about to be broken inside this FNCS if Vidil, Noah, Riley, and Reason get, maybe just 2 more games to do what they do.
There's nothing like a wild card. The wild card just causes so much chaos, and Knifer's trio has been so chaotic throughout the entire day and the tournament total. So far now, they're in another spot. They're in the contesting Steamy Stacks. These guys have been all over. Maybe they just want screen time. You know what I mean? They want to see some broadcast stage light. And that's a great way to go, is just to go to a different place because the camera's there.
Absolutely. I mean, these guys are just hunting for the fight. It's nice to be dynamic and stay on that north side. You got to remember this game also might be different because this is a very different type of zone. Usually, towards the south, you see the mountains, or we're in the dry desert. Now we're in the lush forests and coves of craggy cliffs, maybe. It'll be more calm. It'll be more calm. But as soon as we tune in with trios like these, Chapix, Janice, Hen, Andretta, Scram, Refsguard, they get a little bit more scrappy. They like taking shots fast and then moving away.
Now we have a zone that is in their backyard. Janice, Hen, and Chapix, they have opportunities where they kind of push up to the north side. They love to get the scavenger route team. So that's why they're making their way towards those houses. We don't know if anyone's there because right now, Knifer are most likely rotated down into Steamy Stacks from that area. So if Hen they get an idea where this trio is, they most likely will push down to here to see what they can do. Because right now, this is that dead side rotation. And Hen, Chapix, and Janice, they love to make those kind of rotations because it works really well for their playstyle. And like I mentioned, day one, all those trios that do dead side rotations, play for height, like the Analyst and the Hens trios, they were just always not getting that 5th zone, or when they did, an RPG will come in and stop them, or someone will really be aggressive for height, like Trulex's trio. So that's what's going to be going for in this day two. Like, what kind of height retakes, or height plays are we going to see? And also, for the bottom of the board, what kind of adjustments they're making in real time. And I'm thinking you're right, Shayo. They want to be aggressive to kind of close the gap with some 2-point elims.
Might be the wave. Could also just be having a good time. It's fun to run around in the grass, right? Like, we've been seeing everyone just held up in boxes. Maybe want to stretch your legs a little bit. Mayhem definitely doing that all the way up in the air. Teams on the other side. Yeah, now everyone's in box mode. You see it happen every game. This is Snap's trio. Snap, obviously, Snasty on your screen right now. Well, top 10 finishes on day one. Impressive, but at the same time, it's day two, baby. Day one, sometimes the patterns might not be the same.
It's not. It's completely different. Even the gameplay is different. It's unbelievable.
So, very good record overall. Swag down right now. That's Swab. I understand we get to cast and translate at the same time. Players like to get creative.
It's a different language we have to work with. It's completely new.
The dictionary does not exist for this language either, so you have to trust us on the calls. Munis and Robnik. Harry first game. Now they're actually in the business inside the circle, so things are looking good. Still now, might be a little bit more of a sandpaper vibe in the desert. Everyone's stopping, not getting to push over the greener pastures. Unfortunate, but that means they'll have a chance for damage back and forth.
Now we're taking a look at zone 2. In the middle of that zone, on that same mountain where I just pointed out, Savage's trio is there. Now they're all together there. They have great vantage points looking for Storm Surge tags all over the place. But now you see Thomas HD and a Nos and Flick here coming down from Dirty Docks, seeing all the people, all the action out there in Steamy Stacks here. And this is why it's so dangerous. If you kind of just go all in a outer POI fight, someone's going to rotate and they're going to find you. So this is going to be a huge opportunity to start this match 2 here for Flick and Nos and Thomas to get some much needed Storm Surge tags. 118 is nice, but I know if they get a lot more than that, they're going to make very passive rotations going forward and have the opportunity to play for height.
Might have to get some water for Flick as well. I think this man might be dehydrated waiting all the way over for that late game. Look at the loadout. It's fully close range. It's fully meant for those box dives and rotations and fights towards that end game circle. But if we're looking at patterns, one of these guys is going to go down. It'll be a duo game, possibly. And that'll be trouble if it is Flick, because that golden loadout looks amazing. Trader, Wishy-Washy, and Rax. First time looking in at big FNCS finals performances. They've had some of the most creative fights we've seen so far. Some really good ways to rotate around as well. Their damage threshold looks really good too. Yup, Scram and Chapix ended up fighting as well. And we can obviously see which way that fight went.
It's just simple, man. It's like I mentioned, all great minds think alike. All these players, they kind of rotate the same way. There's valuable rotations. There's efficient rotations. They know exactly where every piece of rock, where every piece of tree is that they could farm, refarm, 0 crystals. And what ends up happening was when you find those valuable, easy, like chill rotations, you're going to find someone else there. It's just the way of the world. That just ends up what's happening here in the Fortnite Island.
It's funny that they're even called 0-point crystals, because every time I see a team use them, they get way more than 0 points. Like, these guys, they pushing hard. Past that, though, no crystals to eat here. So maybe these guys get left at 0 points, picking a bad fight. There goes Leo down. Right next, the Shizo God. Mayhem comes through to meet him through. They got so many floppers. They took out the heal man of the squad. Chug splashes, floppers, gas canisters, heals. This is huge.
It's almost if Leo was a character and he just held on to all the floppers and he was trying to sell some, but they didn't have any kind of goal, and then they took Leo out. Four floppers total. 3 of them are going to be kind of distributed there. Now we're seeing the zone revealed, and you're seeing, look at this. There are some kind of teams right at Savage's door, right there in Belief. Now you're seeing as well. That's Hinge. I believe that someone's at center. I wonder who is center on that tree. That's a very valuable mountain spot here, because we all know when in-games get there, it's pretty much it's going to revolve around that little big mound there. So we'll keep an eye on that. It's not Fadil's trio there that's fighting right there, and Stompy goes down. So that means once again, Noah Riley, the deal Reason is going to hold on to that RPG, and we saw it last time. It was a key to their success when Noah Riley going in and full sending it to height to help his team hold on to that, and at the end of the day get a victory royale.
Absolutely. Sometimes you don't even need that RPG all the way towards the end. Leo down, ZQ and CRR are going to be the ones affected so far.
Oh, no.
Taking a look at it. Oh no, big snipe over. If the deal's knocked down, it's not even the snipes, it's Storm Surge coming in. This guy's not going to find anyone to do damage from. Kinzel, I guess, wasn't there this time or didn't want to fight. That's a team all the way near the top that won't be there to stop anyone else.
That's wild, man. Usually Storm Surge for that team is all about pushing people that are on the scavenger route. Egrim was the kind of guy that did it. Every time they made those rotations on dead side, they usually unlock that. And Reason's still holding on. He's just doing all that he can. He's going into his heals. He has to survive 3 people here. 3 people have to go down, or if he get hit the snipe of his life here, it could happen. Can Reason hold on? He's going to have his eyes set on the tree on the left. This is going to be a huge opportunity. Does he hit it? No, he doesn't hit it. That's what he needed. He's going to fall shortly. And there he goes, down to Storm Surge. And that's the #1 team eliminated.
173 points is basically the lock now. If anyone can jump up past that, it would basically mean that they're in first for the competition. A second chance now for Benji Fishy, Matzo, and Amplify. Another big wave for Janice, Chapix, and Hen to push themselves forward. They're the second place team currently. And for everyone else around, like the Siptos, Kinzel, CRR, Leo, who got rebooted, it's a chance to catch up, not having one of the biggest point hogs alive in the match anymore. CRR finds a pocket of destiny to get these frags and shots in. Not going to be possible for him to connect for any more, though. One flopper here, the whole trio alive behind him, but I don't think this is going to be the best lane to follow. This is a trap that Kinzel's setting. He can turn around really quick and find more beams.
His usually CRR trio is on the other side. This is not where they like to be. This is not where they like to fight, but you're just trying to get into these box fights out there, and it is kind of messing up their game plan that they're used to. Now you're seeing the lines are not set at the storm line. They're really going all the way out to POIs, and that's what Kinzel's trio did. They literally went all the way up to Craggy Cliffs to kind of third party into some fights here, and when they're able to do that, CRR definitely suffered, but there's still a team on the bridge. I also saw on the feed Shio, Savage's trio taking out Pablo's trio, because we all know Pablo loves center, and Savage's trio was already sitting there, and they had a box fight, and Savage was able to kind of take out one of those members. We'll take a look if Pablo's trio is one of them still around here shortly.
This is the worst spot for Benji Fishing Matzo.
Oh no,
every single
Benji.
time, every game. Scooped up from the dirt by a shovel of shots from high ground. And now there's no way that these guys can dig back their chances at staying in this game. No shields, no reboot men in sight. Matzo and Amplify have to operate as a duo. I know they're powerful, but they're so much stronger with Benji at the helm. Moshi's also just pushing right by towards the box. This man has taken out some of the most high-profile teams towards the top spot. In game 1, it was Seti, Cami, and Teak. In game 2, it's Benji Fishy. These guys are basically bounty hunters running around the map.
It's up to Amplify and Matzo to kind of have that same performance that they had in day 1, game 1, where they're able to get a top finish without Benji. That duo is still strong. We all know that Matzo could make some sound rotations. Now we're taking a look at the rest of the field here. Let's see who's still up. ZQ and CRR find some way to survive that storm hold, and now literally without any heals, down to 1 headshot from any kind of weapon basically, and they're out.
It's not survive, it's just delay. That's the operating word. How far
delay
can they get before they're taken out?
I'm optimistic. I think they can pull a miracle,
man. Like, look at the HP. I'm not in this game, Sancho. I think I have more HP than these guys in total.
Here we go. CRR, we know, has the ability to do something, pull a magic out of his hat and get some beams right there on Wakey. This is an opportunity. You know, if they get a refish, they're right back in, and no! It was too much too soon, and the edits come down from Neb's trio. and they just see it. It's just sometimes you can't overcome statistics, Shayo. You're right.
No, it's not even that though. You're right in the fact that it could still affect the server. It took out Wakey from shields and HP down to nothing. That's gonna affect the Siptos and Kinzel's chances, that whole trio of making it in. Talking about big trios though, Hen, Chapix, Janice, High Grounds. This is kind of like, what is it, a metaphor for the standings right now. They're basically in first if they make any form of placement. They already have 2 elims, so they're basically tied now for that first place slot, and they're looking down on everyone, making sure no one can touch them on heights.
And it was Hen's trio that was sitting at that tree mountain. They were the one there as well, set up early, and they had so many people try to claw away and take height from them. On the rotation from the other side of the center from previous zones, it is Savage's trio, and they're making their way into this fight as well. This is a match they desperately need, in my opinion, to make some moves, at least get some confidence build up, because they do have championship pedigree. Tayson again going for that back-to-back championship. Let's go, boys. Let's get it done.
It's big too because they didn't get a chance to fully play out that game number 1. This is huge for them in 2, and they already have 5 elims in total as well.
I'm talking about it. They're here. Savages, he has them cabbages, baby. Let's go. It's in the inventory. You know it's going to be real.
And the inventory could be in the chat. It's always good to give the spirit over to Savage, but still look who's on heights. Got to remember though, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. If you want to talk about Savage versus Hen right now, if you're on low ground, you might get shot at, get affected, get looked at. It's not going to really affect you the whole way through. You can move, you can adjust. When a team chooses to shoot you down and contest you for height, they're going all in. So it could be troublesome if these guys try to hold everything, but they got zone. That's huge. It's moving over towards the Coliseum. We're foreshadowing a big fight, possibly between 2 teams towards this end game. Got to remember too, those walls are indestructible. Not even the Axe of Champions, I think, can break that thing down. So these guys have to be careful and make sure they're higher than those walls, especially all those low ground teams.
I'm going to say something, but just vibe with me, everybody. Not even the mythical Infinity Blade could take it all down. They're not going to have it. That sword ain't going to do it. I ain't going to cut it, dude. They're just too strong right now. That structure is too massive for even that to take it down.
Oh, but Seti going for the revive, not going to be possible for him to have the awareness at the same time to look at the right side of his wall. A second game where Seti, Cammy, and Teak don't get to have a voice. Silenced. Take down to the mouth, and now it's just Teak with no shields. He finds Milo, but can't do anything else.
He could do this, man. Oh my goodness.
You can't do anything else.
Real. He can't do it anymore. I was gonna say the sand tunneling could allow him to extend to delay the inevitable right now. But let's take a look at the inevitable. Is the height, is Janice's trio alongside with Hen and Chapix having some extreme dominance right here. And Matzo goes down in the feed to Tayson. Here it is. Savage, Tayson, and I drop here on the low ground. Now with the layer switch, they have an opportunity to get some damage done. Here we go, Chayo.
Yep, they started all the way from mid, drop down straight below. Just basically ownership of, look at it, basically half the zone. No one can push their boxes from the backside. High ground doesn't want to touch them at the bottom. They have to elevate though. We are going past the Coliseum. We're basically going to be on the wall, on the edge. It has to be the best rotation. Andalex, Snazy, big bouncer to get up as well. You got to be creative with where you're going, but now they're neck and neck with Savage's trio.
Yeah, Savage is right next door. They're on the same layer, but they're going to move up. Andalix is going to tarp up, slowly ramp up, and he may cut off Savage's trio, and they do!
They grab right up top over the leaderboard, 9th place, dropping down. But the people who were just barely ahead / behind of them, they just go straight all the way towards the top. But it's Hen, Japix, and Janice who are still controlling height up to this point. And with this zone, they can really bully anyone who's up on top of these walls.
Question is, there's low ground is out the door now. Low ground, if you fight there, if you're a Matzo fan, if you're a Benji fan, that is out the door. So now it's about the teams who have the experience, who know how to tarp up for height, and that's why Xweez here and Andalik is actually Snazy have an opportunity to hold on. But in these fights, oh no, they go into the Coliseum and it's rotating out of the Coliseum. They may be able to get, I don't think they're gonna be able to get out there, no way.
Might be able to from the left side. Snazy has found a way to go around. Pencil up top, low HP. Janice and Chapix look better. Savage all the way on low with eye drop. They're operating as a duo, so is Flecken and Bayon. Verstash has his full squad with him. Matt split, Savage has none, just 3. But the big shots are there with lever action. We'll see Height splitting up the ammo. They're getting ready. They're prepared for the beam down. 7 trios left. We're getting closer to the top 3. That's huge too. Lucky number 13 with players. There's a big beam from X Squeeze. He gets down Savage. He now has the big guns available to push forward, but Snazy's behind him, merely just the pet with the HP that he has. He can't really touch or do anything or peek out to anyone. It's all up to X Squeeze to lead the charge over here. Operate with one player basically on the leash. That Harpoon will make sure they can break through. 5 different trios still left alive though.
I can't believe X-Squeeze was able to get out of the Coliseum. They probably went down and made some great layer switches to do that. Merch stash is going down here. But the story is X-Squeeze and Snazy here trying to hold on as long as possible. Down he goes, but Snazy's still up. Snazy still has an opportunity to get to the top 3, and that's gonna be, oh, Snazy just takes out Janice with a big blast. And Snazy is still fighting for this opportunity to get into it, and he does get into that top 3.
Right now, it's a dream down on low ground to try to be able to survive this very difficult zone. Pretty soon, these guys will have to face reality as Snazy goes down. Yes, the high ground is very real. They've been waiting, barely using mats, and now they're ready. It's a 2v2. Chapix and Hen versus Flecken and Bayon.
Flecken here doing his best to hold on. It's Bayon and Flecken. They had this opportunity. This is where they got into the reboot round along these one of the Colossal Coliseum. Now, Hen has not had an opportunity to put some max damage out in this lobby here. Now Flecken is taking some damage. Flecken is in. Hen gets it right then. Hits Flecken right down. Gets down and out. Hen is on a tear. Now he's looking for Bayon. He has to find him. Bayon has a lot of health advantage. Down goes Hen. But it's Chapix at height. Can Chapix? Yes! Chapix is able to close the door on that valid attempt there with 8 limbs. But what a great finish for Flecken's trio to get to that opportunity to have a say and to move up their leaderboard with a top 2 finish right then and there. But hey, I gotta say, Snazy coming in and getting that top 3, that was big too.
Yeah, Snazy survived the whole way through. You were surprised. I was surprised. Still, though,
I was surprised.
It's kind of real when you find out, these guys are kind of sleeping in low ground. They look up to the sun in the sky, and you have Chapix and Hen just dropping down beams. It's impossible to break that spot.
Yeah, I know Hen's trio, they were happy that the Colossal Coliseum was in play, no doubt, because that means most likely to get the victory out. But at the same time, that kind of move up that wall kind of took out a lot of opportunities to send beams down below, because people just basically get kind of caught on that fortifying wall. Wow.
Yeah, and the question is, with Vidil, Noah, Riley, and Reason down early in the game, was it enough for Chapix to take it all the way towards the top in first place? The desk has the answers.
We do have the answers, but you have to wait just a moment. I know. We got to build tension. We got to build suspense. A couple things here I got to applaud. Flecken, Bayon, Diablo, the team that made it through the reboot round, who just missed out on going through the finals. They find that final opportunity, and now they're showing us, listen, we're a trio you need to have eyes on. A second place is so good. But Reese, Hen, Chapix, Janice, even when Janice was down, playing closer to that mid-ground tarp, Chapix, he's like, hey, don't worry. I got you, bro. I got you.
This is this play style we're used to seeing from these guys. Eliminations early and mid game, picking up enough so you don't have to worry about Storm Surge. Then after that, claiming that height early on and just absolutely running away with it after that. They pick up eliminations. I think they ended up with 8 there total. But one of the things I actually want to look at, we keep mentioning Flecken's team. I was kind of, while we're watching there, my prediction's Hen's team. But at the same time, when I saw Flecken going on and starting to perform there, I saw a kind of flashback from the reboot round. I was like, he has the medkit. He intentionally went into zone to take that one tick in the zone so that he could pop the medkit and go for the heal off. And it looked like he could have ended up playing it. But let's be real. Hen's team was just too good.
Yeah, great stuff all around. We've both spoken so much about Hen's trio. They've been amazing.
Yeah.
I do want to sort of highlight some of the teams who we mentioned at the top of the show, right? With Analex's trio, they just had another really good game, 3rd place there. iDrop's trio with Tayson and Savage, they had a decent game, 6th place. Now, I mentioned these guys had bad days yesterday. If this is the time now for them to sort of pick things up, get back into a rhythm, then, it's going to get really exciting, because I've mentioned how, look, we've had a lot of teams, who we expected to do well, doing well. Those are the 2 sort of teams who everyone expected to do well who haven't. So if now we're adding those guys to the list of teams doing well as well, it's just crazy. EU FNCS is insane.
And it's crazy too, just how close everything is, especially when we're coming down to like your top 5 trios. When they know, like, hey, we're about to go down, they're still finding opportunities to find additional eliminations, placement, the works.
Yeah, you know what? We were watching Rezon's team in that previous game. You know, this is from game one. They started off with that big victory royale, and that took them up to the top of the leaderboards. And you know what? This is kind of how it was done. We saw Rezon at that point jump all the way back behind. If you notice, no one's paying attention to him at this point. 2 massive tag shots and then a third to pick up the other one. So at this point, that is actually clutch. Now, we had to make sure this was seen again because we didn't get to see this from Rezon's PoE. But the fact that he jumped behind them meant that no one was paying attention to the at all. And then we all saw this. Zeke, you were getting hyped about this shot. Vidil picked up a massive shot. 89 HP, and you can see that he actually tries to go for a little mini play, trying to get ahead, but actually ends up hurting himself by going into the zone instead. But he's prepped. Absolutely laser focus aim, picking up Slender in that first game.
Yeah, and Shio sort of alluded to it, but in the next game, right, the game we just watched, these guys actually go down to Surge, right? They went down early, and that did leave room for other teams to sort of have, you know, a great game. Look, we saw going into this, Hen's team was in second place, and that victory royale has a big chance of pushing them ahead, right? And so, how did these guys bounce back now? They just went down to Surge. This is not something we see of them, right? Like, this is not something you expect to happen to Noah Riley's trio. You expect these guys to always be good in Surge, and so how did they bounce back? Like I just said, big opportunity for them to sort of lose that first place slot, and they do. Hen, Janice, and Chapix are now starting to pull away. I really wanted to see on day 2, who's going to be the trio to start to pull away. Hen, Janice, and Chapix look like they're the ones to take that initiative.
You know, if any trio is going to pull away, it's going to be our prediction trio. Let's be real, 11. Come on. And they're absolutely going for it. You know, these guys deserve this slot. Like I've already mentioned, I'm going to say the stat again. I've said it so many times. These guys have been top 5 in every single tournament they played as a trio. You know, I definitely think, honestly, these guys are the strongest coming into that, but we can't kind of overshadow some of the other teams here in the top 5. You know, Amplify, Matzo, and Benji Fishy. Today, you know, the first game, they were 7th with 4 eliminations, and that last game only being 14th with 1. But you know what? They started off some of the other games a little bit hit or miss as well in day 1. So these guys have not been super consistent in every game. But all that kind of suggests to me is that they have the big potential for another massive victory royale and to jump back up the leaderboards.
Yeah, most definitely. I do want to sort of highlight one thing to watch out for, right? If you're a fan of, you know, seeing how rivalries play out, on that first page there, 5th place, you know, Mexi, Michael Verrett, 4th place, Thomas and Nas and Flick. These guys are huge rivals, and so who's going to beat who in terms of finishing in that final place at the end of the 12 games we've had? Who knows? Bayon, Diablo, Fleck in there, you saw them in 17th place. That game does sort of help them, you know, get a bit further up the standings. You know, can they sort of get into a position where they can make a bit more cheddar, a bit more dosh? It'll be interesting to see.
Well, man, we'll have to see if you guys' trio can hold on, because if they do, Chapix is going to have to make the trio some secret ingredient soup. But for now, speaking of spicy, we're sending it back over to Sancho West and Shy Wager. It's game number 3 of the FNCS.
Let's hold on to that soup for just a little minute there, because we've got some more beefy action still in play inside the FNCS. That third game or second game just kind of passes on. Now it's really time to get the brass tacks.
Oh, yeah, man. You could feel the pressure is building slowly and slowly. You're seeing big time reaches to make some movement. And Refsguard is now back into the fray here, looking for this first points of the day. It's just been one of those days for Refsguard's trio. But if their day 1 performance can show what they can do in day 2, they have the opportunity to at least make a say into the top 10.
Absolutely. And right now they're starting things strong. They weren't really, I guess, present that last game at Steamy Stacks. I didn't really see them around. Maybe they left a little bit earlier. Now they're really stock hopping, looking for those shots left and right. It's looking nice, and they've won against Robnik so many times.
Looks like Legend gets an elimination on Pablo. No doubt that happened out there in Holly Hedges. So many more adjustments are happening throughout the entire map. More people are moving, trying new spots here. At this moment, sometimes when you only got 3 matches left to go, Shiloh, you just got to throw it all on the wall and see what sticks.
And now Robnik's sticking straight to the floor. Can't move. Got knocked down. And then we have Vidil moving forward as well. These guys have to be on the hunt today, 100%. Yes. Because last game, it didn't look too good. This game, they're still not finding more. And this is why every POY, no one's being flexible anymore. They're really staying in their boxes. They're not over peaking. They're not going towards the right or left side to find anything more. They're just focused on their one-on-one fight.
And here's another one-on-one fight. In day 1, it went towards Refsguard's trio. I mentioned that they were able to clear out the entire northeast side of the corner, sending multiple trios throughout the entire map here on their own here. And now, clawing their way up slowly. It all begins, man. We've seen it. This kind of format, you could definitely pop off here. Get a couple things going away. You get a box fight. You get a nice refresher when you desperately need it. Maybe you pull zone. Maybe you get to high. All that's still in play here, but they're going to have to fight in this kind of creative box fighting map they've just created here. Like, did you see that down below? We're talking about metal tarps and everything. Like, let's go, boys. Let's have ourselves a good old-fashioned box fight.
This kind of reminds me of that dance floor all the way back.
Yes.
And what was it, like New Factories?
Yep.
In the last map? Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. This is basically the same thing. And we're about to start a party.
Yeah, no, it's not the kind of party that you definitely want to take if you're RevScar. It's just going to further delay your rotation. It just seems like that's what happened throughout this entire Steamy Stacks here in the EU finals. You know, championships were born here. You know, Janice and Tayson, they all won solo championships from here, but it just seems to be the opposite here in trios. All the analysts, we always have this kind of conversation like, what's going on with Steamy Stacks? Why can't they produce the same kind of production on the trios base? It's just simply, it takes a long time to end your fight there.
Yeah, and as a result, everyone just kind of, you know, gets really stuck on the leaderboard. They can't really move back and forth. Speaking of the map, though, right now, bottom right side type zone. So no one from Steamy Stacks will be able to have the freest type rotation. It'll be long.
We have to talk about the kind of day that Kiko's trio is having. They're doing really well. They're in-game. And this zone right here is going to heavily favor them as well. Now we're going to go jump back up to this engagement. RevScar's getting one. I think that's close to being the wipe, but no, another trio is here to fight. They're here to have some more fun. And I think I have to guess it's actually Boyer. Boyer, who was down in the orchard. I think Boyer now is looking for some Elim points as well.
It's time for round 2. And these guys don't have that much steam left in the tank. Scram just get picked back up. That's kind of huge. But once again, just deep inside this factory, it's so hard to find ways to move around. You have to remember it was the old team who was just here, who had all the control of the walls. RevScar, Andretta, and Scram will have to redecorate and at the same time escape.
And get out of there. This is why these fights take forever. As you see, Boyer's desperately trying to cut them off from getting from the Steamy Stack. Scram and RevScar are left behind. They're trying to get in as well to vault themselves over. They have to be careful here because as soon as they try to get out of here, beams from Kluja and Hellfire and Boyer may send their way. And Boyer's one of those teams that had a decent start in game 1 as well. Just after that, those rotations from down south from the Orchard were very tough to navigate. They had to go through Colossal Coliseum. They had to go through the Hunter's Haven multiple times. And now they're just, let's make some adjustments and push out the teams that are making late rotations as well. But not by hanging out by the storm line. Let's get in their grill.
And this is kind of a fight at the bottom of the leaderboard. Basically 22nd place for RevScar and Andretta and Scram. Meanwhile, Boyer all the way down towards 29th. So even sitting up high, yes, these guys have the high ground in game. And also on the standings, Boyer will choose not to use aggression to move up, but just smart rotations and pressure. Good choice, good choice. Eximako Verox, these guys also kind of far from home in a sense.
Oh, yeah.
But now looking like, you know, they're lacking to make EU anywhere they land their home. Top 5 right now for these guys cumulatively. 157 total points. They're just 2 points behind Flick and Austin Thomas HD.
And this is a great spot for tags. The Dusty Depot is phenomenal. It's so much value. As you can see, you get so much sight lines for all around the map. At the same time, we saw them out, get them in a lock animation and get a huge tags and maybe a knock here. So expect Michael's trio here to hang out here for a bit. I'm gonna be here for a while and then they're gonna move on. But I gotta tip my hat to these boys. They were worried that, you know, Thomas HG kind of booted him out of Dusty. Everyone on social media was like, what are you going to do? Are you going to contest? Especially Verox, man. That was his home. He was born there in this chapter, for crying out loud. And now he, you know, grown up, moved out of the house, moved on down to the butter barn and finding some success.
Success for them, but not as much as reason for Dylan O'Reilly. Almost going for, I guess, the full gauntlet here. 21 different teams they've had a little bit of a bite from. I hope they can make the full 33 at the end of the day, but have to stay ahead of Surge. That's the biggest thing. That's been their issue so far. Driving around is one of the best options. They're searching around Slurpee all the way from Sweaty Sands. They went north last game, south this one. I mean, there's no one in sight.
And I just love this emote use right here by Vidil, just to be able to not to get a clean headshot. Very cheeky, very smart. But what has been so difficult for them is that their reputation precedes them, and now no one wants to play with them. It's just what it is. It is what it is. They have no one to play with now because they don't like to share. They don't like to share points. Again, I'm a dad. Hey, kids don't like to share when they're little. You know, it is what it is. So they're not sharing anything, and no one wants to play with them. We did a look at Analyst's trio. They like to do that. If Zone pulls on them, in the previous game one, they like to look for storm tags. They're looking at Lazy Lake. They're looking at Retail Row. Their adjustment that they made was now going down to Cape Cod, trying to find Nico's team. Nico's trio loves to make that rotation, that dead side rotation through the coastline. So that's why Analyx is down there looking for more tags. And as you see, Analyx's trio is actually sitting dead center because weather station's right there. Those mountains are going to be very valuable going forward in the rest of this match.
Oh, they're finding enough teams, though, to get tags from. You see Diablo and Bayon and company all the way inside this box looking for shots as well towards Verox's team. Torentos and Julex pushing forward as well. Both teams having not too bad of a day, but need to elevate today to get towards the top of those, big leaderboard standing. This is a 23-point team in the day in 23rd place.
Some people out there are visual learners, and I myself is a visual learner, and that visual look at that map right there tells me all that I need to know for the day. No one's lining up anymore on that line. By now, yesterday, zone 2, everyone's sitting on that line. Not anymore. They're all trying to get those storm surge tags in their separate little box fights, and then once they get enough tags, then they rotate in. So what that means is anyone that's been very consistent playing for center, they have a lot of pressure. Like you said, Analyx's trio has a lot of pressure to find those storm surge tags. They need to have their aim be accurate and true.
I don't think that line dancing's done just yet. Gotta remember, just the second zone, once these guys clip all the way into third, there's no way you're trying to just push forward onto different mountains.
It's not a line dance anymore, dude. It's a mosh pit out there.
No, I think we still have a few tunes left.
Okay.
Just wait for this zone to lock in, and we'll see exactly where these non-card trios will end up. It'll be all around Lazy Lake, and then that left side as well.
All I know, man, is I don't think it's a silent disco. I just think it's just
all right.
Like a loud mosh pit of destruction that's happening out there in all these fights. And like I mentioned, man, the rotational bandwidth is just so little now, more than anything. And if you're like Chirentos and you're not finding any kind of fight, Chess team here is going to have some issues. Now they have to box up and try to get some tags here. And before they know it, they're going to be the ones that are late rotating in, and then they're going to be storm held. This is what happens when you make these decisions. Every decision matters here in these kind of high stakes tournament.
And these are the dynamic decisions as well. We saw some of these top teams in big bases. Torentos, Julex, and Mustache are just kind of stopping wherever they can. It's not fully planned, so they don't even have the biggest sight lines. Guys are operating on fumes, but hopefully they get through. Just 2 damage below. And now Ardent and Pizza right beside Wakey as well. I think both these teams are always itching for fights. Artor is here too. They've gotten into so many mid-game fights as well. These are just rough riders back and forth. And they're still gonna go and confirm a few things. Right now, on the other side of the map, we have Swag's trio going down slightly. I'm not sure if it's 2 reasons.
Okay.
Yes, it is. And they find the snipe as well. So big above Surge.
I was going to say, man, Reasons Trio is all they're doing is looking for a third-party opportunity to go in. And you saw they went from 14 Storm Surge all the way up to the 400. So that is why that's their game plan. They look for third parties. If you're based up trying to get Storm Surge tags, they're going to sneak up on you. They're going to ambush you. So now they have a strong opportunity to do the rest of their game plan, which is more dead side rotations, more pushes into Fox fights. So if you building out of wood or anything weak, they see that weakness and they go right in.
Now I want to see if any of these teams have to break out of Misty Meadows or if we're going to be locked down here right next to the circle. We have one team kind of rolling away. Agram, Reason, Swag, and then Trulix with Pink and Stompy are here too. Looking for a shot in with Pizza. I was talking to Trulix yesterday. Basically, the thing stopping them from pushing forward was first zone Surge. And the way they were kind of handling getting tags, hopefully they fixed it over. Haven't landed any shots towards the deal right now, but they're making adjustments.
Oh, this is a big time moment here. Zone 3 has been revealed and it's more south. Last time we had an in-game here yesterday, it ended on the lake, but that's not going to happen this time. It's going to go down to that mountainous terrain. Thomas HT picking up an Elam on Cluja. Vidil, Noah Riley, Reason still on their feet, making their way forward. Egram still on their feet, making their way forward, but this is going to be a very dangerous short rotation. You mentioned Trulix trying to get tags here. They're staying on the outside. I think they're tired of going down before they have an opportunity to fight for height. They're just sick of it.
Yeah, there's, basically a set plan put down on paper on how to rotate from here. I feel like that paper is about to be crumpled and then thrown into the zone. As a result, some of these teams might end up going down. They're still right next to each other. It still looks nice and straight. No creases on that piece of paper. Hero Swag and Snap are going to be moving forward first. Everyone's rolling in. No folds. Okay. It's organized.
Blackie just wiped out Cammy's trio all by himself.
Again?
Blackie just wiped him out. It's just not the kind of day for Cammy's trio. It's just showing you that split. It's just once people start coming in, once they start, it's like you're building a kind of wooden blocks tower, right? The moment one piece is missing, that whole thing collapses, and that's what's happening. They need perfect rotations. They need that loot to have success, and so far, day 2, all that success is being destroyed by that lobby.
You can always rebuild that tower. You can also have that happen towards the mid game as well on a sound structured tower. That's exactly what Snap was trying to do on screen to Karma, Aware, and Legends. Not going to happen though. They'll box up on top of each other in a really weird spot. I'm not sure exactly what you can see from here, especially if there's a lot of teams above you, but I respect it. It's cool to be side by side. No Riley Vidil though, they want to go higher. Trulex is there as well. Both teams that love to be all the way up top, and now the fight starts box to box. Kind of getting itchy between both these teams. Noah Riley's gonna be the one person to be having the opportunity to drop down from an angle that they actually can't perceive or see. There it is, the big charge shot on towards Trulex. He gets a big shot back though. Noah Riley's in trouble. 45 HP, has to find room to breathe. He's choking on air right now. There's a tree in the way. Okay, it'll be there for camouflage, but he's leaving both his teammates down below in a fight against Juriki. It wasn't even Trulex, and Juriki gets wiped out.
Man, so many trios are playing right into the plan of Noah Riley's trio. That's what they want. They want these fights. They love mid-game fights on the Storm Edge. They're going to take them, and they're not going to let go. This trio is dangerous, and they're moving up their leaderboard slowly but surely just by their elim play. We're not even in placement points yet, Shayo.
And look at this, entire leaderboard at the same time. The differences in points between teams is huge. Almost 40 points ahead is Janice and Shapix. Past that too, everyone's kind of neck and neck. But if these guys survive in this game, can anyone really catch them?
Everybody on social media, on the Reddit forums, were saying Noah Riley's Vidil's reasons game plan of keying everybody is not going to work in a high stakes lobby. It's not going to work against 150 plus FNCS finals appearances, but it's working right now, and they're in second place.
Thing though is now for this rotation, this is kind of like an ocean all these players have to cross. They'll be on similar kind of wavelengths and a boat. Will anyone be, prime enough, sturdy enough to go for a mutiny of sorts and become the captain of this rotation, go for more beams, take a fight? Or will it all be organized? One team already dipped through that river. Some of these boats have made land on the other side. Noah Riley Vidil have that chance to, take the reins away from the captains, but they're so far below, so low, it's not possible. And like Snazy, like Squeeze, though, they're all the way up in the bird's nest of the boat, of the zone. And they look so good. Highest almost. I want to make sure before I say it, because last time there's another team all the way on top of the mountain. So one of the highest spots, but not high vibe. Psych, yes, there are 72 damage above Surge.
And they're in a massive porta fortress or their own custom. And I was going to say they're looking good, but in the inside, they're not eating well because the Storm Surge is barely above 38 above. They need to start getting some tags here, valuable tags here if they want to hold on to this dominant position. And this is why Analyst now is going to go in and he's going to box fight Scram and Rustguard. And I think Analyst is going to go solo because they will still want to hold on to that position. No, he has someone out here. It's Snazy. It is a duo versus duo. And now Squeeze joins this fight here. So it's a trio. Now I'm going to push on this duo here. So that's going to be a big time. Analyst actually gets a big time hit here. Scram and Restguard are not going to go down without a fight here. This is a very important fight here for Analyst's trio because they desperately need these tags.
1 HP on Ref's guard. They were so close to getting so much more damage too. 35 above now, 9 below. This is a very difficult lobby, and 9 players will have to go down for the surge to stop in just a few moments. We'll see exactly if these guys can get any more. 35 above. Surge is now active. A big 49 tag. That'll be huge for analyst. But the fight's not stopping. They find Ref's guard. They'll be able to snipe him down as well, but they have to do it quick. There we go. 200 more damage, but it's still not enough after that.
Oh, there it is.
346. It's over.
Man, and Scram's still alive there, but Snazy's trio, they're good. They're not going to fight anymore, and they have to go there. The rotation's going to push them there anyway, but that's the kind of pressure you have here when you fight on center zone. Is all of a sudden you have to step out of your comfort zone, step away from that piano, and you're going to have to dance and fight.
So on the left side there, kind of with Snazy, it's basically fencing, swords, eloquent. Over here, it's open fist slaps to the face between 2 trios. Pink low, Stompy low. Noah Riley doesn't care. He's not even editing walls. He just has a charge ready to go. It's absolutely disrespectful and crazy, and it's working.
They are in the zone. They are buzzsawing this entire lobby, and they're not going to stop. Now let's go ahead and take a look at our #1 first place currently holding on, Janice Hen and Chapix. I'm sure they're seeing that feed lead up by that second place here. Looking down below, you're seeing Savage is barely without any shield here, but what a great position here. No one's going to be able to sneak in a sniper shot here for Janice Hen and Chapix. They're going to find some great opportunities and pick on Slender, which is another top 5 team having some issues with this rotation.
You're saying great position. I'm saying, what is their position? Look at the minimap. It's arrows on arrows. It's like a quiver of an archer. You can't really determine who's where. There's too many people on top of each other. I'm not sure exactly what Janice is even working with vertically right now. And they have to pull over the mountain. There's no way. Patty, Knifer, and Vino are the ones all the way up top. Another round for Anas, Flick, and Thomas to maybe take height, but they failed 2 games so far. Will the 3rd try be the chance?
This is going to be a huge opportunity as well for Knifer's trio to move up to the leaderboard. They were able to kind of capitalize on this height, all determine where it goes, how dangerous Thomas, HC, Flick, and Anot's going to be, and of course, how dangerous Hen's right below right there. You also have Analyst. These trios love to play for height. This is the first time that we've seen in the final stage Patty, Knifer, and Vino be at height as Savage does go down and out.
And it's really easy to spot how good these eagles look all the way up in the sky, but the rats down below in low ground, we can see Benji Fishy, Amplify Matzo moving up the left side, Snazy so close to the front of the zone all the way on the right. Patty's actually lagging a little bit far behind, but that's possibly to get some tags all the way on the right and left sides. We'll see if it's possible. Big bridge for him to cross and a big ladder for everyone else to climb all the way up the highest mountain Fortnite has to offer.
Actually, Savage is still there. Savage is barely alive right then and there. Savage has an opportunity too, but this is the kind of zone that Benji and Matzo do really well in as well. We saw this in the finals. They were able to secure a top placement.
And right now, everyone's kind of put to the ultimate test on rotation. Who will be the ones to make the smartest rotation just in general at the moment? Black Yoda on the right side, he's always surviving 24/7. Vino, though, is dropping the pressure down below. We see Snazy leading the pack aside. Benji Fishy on the left boxes. Patty is basically, having a free rotation, but still struggling to get all the way up top high. One of those ramps breaks down too. Nora Riley goes down. Hen goes down too. Reason has low HP. People are not passing the test. Anas and Benji Fishy are fighting in the zone, and Benji goes down, but trades with Thomas. Flick and Anas are trying to grab all the way up, but they're drowning. They're drowning. They can't breathe. Flick goes down. Top teams can't make the hurdle.
There's one top team in the 7th place going into this match that still has an opportunity. Reason still a solo here, still has the opportunity to get huge, valuable placement. Look at that feed light up. So many people fell when the zone went up and over. Nightflare, Piety, and Vino, they had no opportunities to get 0 E-limbs because the mountain took all of that away here. So yes, they might get that victory royale, but they're not going to capitalize on that valuable position like Reese said, where you could get 5 E-limbs, and Reason finally goes down to Snagged. Oh, no!
Snazy was trying to grasp anything. A little bit of a breath on a high. He tries to bounce her down, but gets beamed. Snasty all the way down too. Vino still controls height. DKS on the right side. It's an icy end game. You want to make sure no one here slips. It's a duel situation though for Snasty right now, moving up. Nice side jump to make sure he relieves all the pressure. 3 different trios left. He's looking up for Patty. It's a possibility. There's 170 mats though. Miro's still alive all the way on low too. Where is Miro? Is he even on screen? He's all the way down below.
Miro has done this rotation before. All the clips I've seen him, but no, Blackie. This is going to be a huger, but his teammate there, Snagged, is there. Blackie gets tagged in the back. Down goes Blackie from Snagged, and Eric in there to finish the trade. Now it is a top 2 situation. Can Eric pick up? He's going for the rest. I mean, it's still a lot of zone left because so many people went down early. Knifer and Patty still have this opportunity, but this is going up over the mountain. This is not going to look good, but Erican is not going to give up. They're going to grasp as much as possible. This is still up for them here. I don't think Patty and Knifer, they're not going to go down. They're going to try to hold on, but if they were any kind of aggressiveness, this could work out for Patty and Knifer, but Erican and Blackie here getting closer and closer to height.
At World's Edge, and they finally find a way to jump over. Patty though denies it. You win with a big clap back. Blackie is left at the bottom of the mountain. Does he have any heals is the question. 40 seconds of time he has to buy, and Knifer has 2 floppers. The Fishman on top of the mountain with the big shots wins the game. What a zone. What a performance.
Man, that mountain zone just took out so many of the top players, top of the leaderboard, and that gave an opportunity for Knifer's trio to walk away from that. But they only got, from what I've seen, maybe 1 elim and the Victory Royale. Huge placement point game for them. But at the same time, you would hope that they would get more elims, but that finish, Shio, that mountain, quite treacherous.
How can you elim people when you have to deal with the mountain, man?
I know.
There's natural low ground trying to eliminate you. So that's a rough one. A lot of top teams also, wiped out, as you said, Sancho. We got to toss it over to Reese, Levin, and Zeke to see exactly what went down.
Man, I just got to say, I love Sancho and Shai's casting. They are phenomenal. The hype was there. The grandfather mountain will always claim its toll. And also, I think, guys, this is the craziest underdog story. Knifer's trio coming in, former FNCS champions from console. They're showing up. They're saying, listen, friends, you think we can't hang? Watch this. We're about to take a Victory Royale away from you. Just pulling the rug out beneath you. No problem.
And for that team, in their heat after the first 3 games, they had 2 points. They were down bad, right? They were down bad. However, the last 3 games of their heat, they absolutely popped off, managed to get that top 8. Today, and yesterday, I think before that game, they had a total of 34 points. And I think they gained somewhere around 40 to 50 in that game in particular. We'll see when the leaderboards pop up. So huge game already. Way more points they've gotten than all the rest games. So this could be the start of their momentum. And another thing, when you're noticing, we saw the res. We saw them go for the revive in that end game. And you might be thinking, how is this possible? How is a 2v2 situation getting a revive off? But if you notice, when we switched back to the team on hype, Paddy's team, they had been on hype for so long and they didn't manage to get a refresh that they're already still out of AR ammo. So it's kind of a reflection of what we saw back in game 2 of yesterday, where teams on hype just didn't manage to get that refresh enough to get the ammo to keep pressuring down, but ended up winning anyway this time.
Yeah, I think this is what day 2 is all about, right? The remontadas, the comebacks, and I think if you look at what both of those teams were, the final 2 teams there, Paddy's team finished yesterday in 29th. Erkin's team finished yesterday in 20th. Not the best performances by any means, but both of these guys on the day coming out and showing that, we are solid teams. We can get decent placements. Another thing to note, and Alexis team, another strong game, 4th place, they finish in that game. So, when we have these exciting zones, these zones that go up in extreme, elevations, it is always exciting. It's fun for us to watch, not fun for the players. I'll tell you that much. But,
Extreme's the right word. I think extreme was the right word.
Yeah.
Still super fun. And guys, I kind of want to continue this underdog story, right? Because we're seeing these guys at the top, but I truly believe anyone can still pull off the championship, right? They can walk away winners.
Yeah, I wanted to highlight Slender's team, right? I've been referencing them a lot, my Portuguese Magnificos. These guys on the day coming into this game have been the 2nd best team, right, in terms of their performances, their placements. And I think it's because they've been so proactive, right? Yesterday, they picked up a Victory Royale. I spoke to Mosh and he said, look, I'm feeling a little top 7, right? I think if we have good surge, if we can sort that out, we're going to be fine. And I think they've sort of figured things out. You saw that in the first clip, right? He lands there, he realizes, like other teams have, Cammy split, these guys are so split around on the map. If I land on this mountain here, get a weapon, by, the RNG gods, I can get some tags off, I can get some shots off, and it's, paying off for these guys. Hopefully we can see them sort of convert and have really good performances moving forward. Leaderboards haven't changed up too much as a result of the fact we had 2 teams really low down, doing well. And so the top of the leaderboards still looking similar to what we saw last game.
Yeah, we saw, Hen, Janus, and Chapix there coming down in 11th with 3 eliminations. So, as far as their games have gone, somehow, even though they came 11th with 3 elims, that's still one of their worst games yet. So that just shows how consistent and good these guys really are. But, that actually has kind of closed the gap between Vidil, Norali, and Rezon and them. They're now 20 points difference because something that went under the radar a little bit there was Vidil, Rezon, and Norali's 10 eliminations. They popped off with 10 eliminations in 5th place. So while all these teams were struggling climbing up that hill, you know what? These guys were just looking at each other and saying, you know what? That elim's mine. You're struggling? No, you're out of the game. Sorry. You're struggling? You're gone too. So, you know what? They took advantage of the awkward zone, to say the least, and managed to get up. If they managed to get into that top 3 as well, we could see a different story between that top leaderboards.
Look, Reese, we got 3 games left. Are we starting to get to the place where, it's becoming a 2-person race, right? Where it's like we have these two teams. These 2 teams look like the teams who are most likely going to leave today with the AXA champions. I don't want to speak too soon, right? 3 games is still plenty of time for someone to just come through and just wow us, right? But it is starting to look like those are the 2 teams that are going to pull away. Don't want to speak too soon. I don't want to jinx anything. Don't want to speak too soon. Take a look at your screens. Cast the cards. We've heard it all before. Interesting stuff, right? Certain players who I think started off hot yesterday, not being able to replicate their performances in that sense, right? You mentioned how Stompy's team really started off hot, right? First game, Victory Royale. Second game, 2nd place. And now it's like they've sort of fallen off a cliff, no pun intended, to that last game. And it's going to be interesting to see if they're able to bounce back in a sense.
That's what it's all about. They have 3 games left. They have a championship, the Axe of Champions. That is all these players are thinking about. Who will pull out all the stops and walk away your new champions? Well, after 3 games, we will find out. But for now, we got to cool off. We're going to step away, go find some chug splashes because we have taken a bunch of damage and we need to be prepared heading into these last 3 games of the FNCS. So get up, find yourself a little bit of water, come back, and we'll be here the last 3 games. See you guys in just a moment.
Welcome to the Reboot Rundown. If you missed it, there was a special reboot round which included all the best teams that couldn't make it past the semifinals. Everyone had one more chance. Only the team with the Victory Royale in this single match could make it to the finals of this FNCS. With these types of stakes, we saw the craziest action and display of dominance throughout every region. Today, we're going to show you just 3 of those stories from Europe, North America East, and North America West.
For EU, it was Flecken, Aloft, Diablo, and Bayon who clinched the Victory Royale with a thrilling heal-off that went down to the final second. Flecken gets chosen to try and heal off and win the game as a solo. With no mats, he's forced to go into the heal-off 29 seconds before the zone closes. The medkits can't be used here because he's already in zone and the other team has a huge advantage on time, so he needs to do something and make a play to win the game. Dropping to low ground, he finds the most crucial elimination, netting him 50 extra HP from Siphon, 2 floppers and cabbages, enough to make up the time difference and win him the reboot round. You could feel the hype in this final moment.
An opportunity here, right here. Flecken has the win condition for the heal off there, but can a trio there? Okay, he found the Elim, gets a little bit more Siphon. Now he's in it. He's all the way committed. Gray is going to go for the med kit. He does have an opportunity to walk away. A top 3 situation here, Sayo.
He's trying for it. Everyone now in helo mode. Gray's all the way up top looking for it. Flecken gets a big Siphon as well. MXR is trying to delay anything, but it's head-to-head. Flecken versus Gray. He's got cabbages and floppers. Gray will have to drop down and find this elimination. Flecken with the flops. Pops one over. That's his last. Gray, 2 seconds. 1. It's over. And it's Flecken with positioning, aggression, and heals to win the European reboot round. Now in NA East, people were playing for heal-offs too, but there was one team with a very different goal in mind and a mission to continue their legacy in this FNCS finals. They weren't going to lose. NRG Zate, Train H Saf, and Liquid Stretch. Names synonymous with greatness and a history of success, no matter what team they were on. These guys chose to attack the POI with the most explosive potential, Hydro 16. Endgame gave us the pleasure of watching the classic split this trio does so well, making sure no one could touch them on height with constant pressure from all angles. In EU, height changed hands 7 times, but in NA East, no one dared to challenge the kings at their throne. With no bounce back zones, everyone on low ground ran out of mats way quicker. The likelihood of a heal off looked so low, and they didn't even have to touch the reserve of heals they had at all. They made their performance look absolutely flawless. This was one of the most legendary comebacks of one of the greatest teams to touch competitive Fortnite.
Dubs is in shambles. Mega's back in Storm. He finds more meds though. He gets more splashes. He gets more floppers. Is this enough? He can pull off the double med kit. They RPGs them. They take down Dubs, but they don't take down Mega. He's deep in Storm. Stretch is setting up. He's looking. He's got the meds, but he's also got the eyes in the sky. Who has more meds? Stretch or Mega? Mega went out deep. He went in early. He's pushing back in. He knows he doesn't have it. He can't get the med kit off. That's it. As long as Stretch heals this, Zayt, Saf, and Stretch will be going through to the grand final. Wow. Stretch holds on to his history.
NA West, a region where you can expect the unexpected. Coming into this reboot round, it was a pure wildcard match. Each team had an equal chance of clinching that victory royale and qualifying for the finals. The way Jeffers, Union, and Dardis clutched up had the heal-off meta involved with a little bit of spice. Dropping Holy Hedges, there was a ton of heals to be found. 6 Chug Splashes along with more from a Loot Llama, with some additional seasoning of 6 peppers to speed up their luck and position on the map. In the final duel in NA West, it was time for an upset. It looked like solo FNCS champion Vert and his trio, who was slated to come back and win the reboot round, had it all in the bag. Jeffers' trio had other plans. They made a crucial play in disrupting the heal-off, and the rest is history.
Chug Splash is there. Does he have enough to put pressure from high ground, though? He's got to keep Chug Splashing, got to keep throwing, got to keep going for it. No! There's a play on the other side. Is he going to go down? He got knocked!
It's Vert. Vert's in the zone. It's Vert versus Jeffers. Vert has to find Jeffers up on the high ground, but Jeffers has the peppers. He's popping a pepper. Chug Splash is going through. The med kit won't matter. Vert has to go find him, and Jeffers says, "Toodaloo, I will see you in the finals. You'll be watching. I'll be playing, baby."
How far will these teams go? Will the addition of aggressive fighters, historic legends, or a team that gets one more chance at fame change the story of the FNCS finals? We've made it past the reboot. Now it's time to play out the rest of the game. Keep your seatbelts on, Fortnite fam. We'll see you at the finals. Beep, beep.
What's going on, Fortnite fam? Welcome back to the finals here of the FNCS. We're in the European region, where only 3 games remain until we know who the next Trios champions will be and who will get to hold those acts of champions until the next FNCS. It's me, Z. We got Reese. We got Levin. And in just a moment, we'll be jumping back aboard the battle bus for game number 4 on the day. We hope you guys are enjoying the action. If you're watching a Party Royale, what's up, Party Royale? Give me your favorite emo right now. I like it. Perfect. You know who else likes it? It's Shy Wager. It's Sancho West. Let's get in the game.
Oh, we like it a lot, and it's about to get serious. The final quarter of games for the European finals, and we have some of the best teams towards the top.
Absolutely, and this is number 5. This is intense here. Every moment matters here on out. Every build, every rotation, every decision, every shot is going to matter, so you could walk away the FNCS champion in the lion's share of over $1 million. First place, $300,000. Wow, Shayo, we're talking about life-changing money will be choled out here today in just a few hours. If you can't feel that, ooh, we're gonna get you there, I promise you.
I feel like some names are already maybe signed on that check, right? Hen, Janice, and Chapix are just having a phenomenal performance game after game after game. A 3rd, 1st, and then 11th overall on the day. More elims every single game that are getting higher and higher. And they have a 20-point difference between them and then Vidil, Noah Riley, and Reason. Thomas HC Flick and Anas are also in the business, in the mix, 4th place overall. But man, these guys in 1st are so far ahead.
So far ahead, and as well, Seti, Kemi, and Teak, who started off the day in the 1st place, sliding further down as they have been eliminated. Again, we are jumping into the match. A lot of things have already happened already. We also have Nico's trio going down, Eunice's trio going down, and Legends trio going down. But the big one is that 8th place trio going down. So that gives rooms for Kiko to move up. It gives room for Savage to get off that 10th place to move up. But now we're focused here on Thomas HD trio coming in 4th place last season, finishing in 3rd place, wanting a better opportunity to go up their leaderboard as much as possible here. And they're already seeing it. The changes there, they're hitting their shots here. And this is where right now, it's just you're all going based on instinct. All those plans and whatnot, out the window, bro.
Their instinct is always nice. It's just so unfortunate because you've seen them in 2 games be so close to, gaining control. This is a team that, to get the most points possible, they need that VR, they need a position where they're on height towards the end. But Sancho, we've been seeing zones that are made up from someone I gotta believe is diabolical, man. A mountain. You're forcing every team to cross over. You're forcing teams to the north edge of the zone 2. You're forcing them to play in the dry desert over and over. Ultimate low ground with no bounce backs. It's so difficult to operate in these end games, yet the same teams at the top are finding success game after game.
And they're doing it in different ways. Reasons Trio decided to let's go ahead and get our points in elims, and they racked in like about, I think, reset 10 elims, so they got at least 20 points, even though they fell at top 5, not getting that big bonus in that top 3. Still a phenomenal performance to close the gap on Hen's trio.
And then Amplify, Matzo, and Benji are still in the mix, even though they have a few rough games here and there. Is Thomas gonna find the snipe?
Dude, he's shooting that through the trees. He's just going off on, like I said, instinct. But now we're taking a look at the Chaos at the 0 point going down. The deal, Noah Riley, reason sometimes they take off a big bite that they simply cannot chew. But it looks like it does work out. They just swallowed that down right then and there. Reason Vidil and Noah Riley picking fights left and right, but this may be a troublesome spot considering that there's a lot of trios in this situation. Cluja, Hellfire going down. This Boyer, who has been always trying to hold on, trying to keep this trio steady, the veteran, doing all that he can against this dangerous trio. Close to might be converted over into it, and Boyer now is just going to go away because there's still a lot to play. If you're not in the top 5, at least top 10 opportunities. Boyer's trio's in 19th place. They can make some movement. If they break into top 15 for them, that's going to be big money increase as well.
20-point difference as well for Hen and Vidil we just saw on screen. And they kind of make it up a little bit with those 2 elims. That trio is kind of like a spiky ball. No one can grasp them, hold them down, or even leave them unscathed.
Dude, that looked like a little spa, right? Doesn't that look refreshing to go into? It looks so fine. I know that's it's heating up here in the States, and that looked refreshing to hang out in. As you're seeing, Thomas Stacey has spent more time alive than any other player in the EU region. This shows you, like I said, in game, he has that solo clutch opportunities. He did it last season, winning a couple victory royales by himself. Of course, the meta's changed. The Shockwave was a huge factor into winning that. And now they're 47 above. So that little delay, that spa retreat, kind of slowed them down just a little bit.
At the same time with that stat, technically with in-game time age, Thomas is the oldest player on the field. So he has to be the wisest. Maybe that's why he hits all these snipes. He knows the angles. He's like the hidden sage, basically, on the Fortnite island in EU.
But hey, let's see. Maybe that's gonna wear him out. The stamina just to be up, that intensity that's to be up. We've seen that sometimes when you're playing that high level. These games, they go 20 plus at least, all the way to those final minutes, all the way down to that final zone. But now we're going. What you mentioned, Wise. Uguay, aka Chapex, is here. All Wise being an essential member of that trio, looking pretty good as they're making a rotation. Now we're going to another situation of another trio in the top 5, sitting in 3rd place. Matzo, Benji, Amplify have not had a signature game yet in this day, but still in the top 5. This is going to be a huge box fight because if they go down, I think they're going to have, and Alexis trio, no doubt, be able to leapfrog them.
I'm scared to watch this.
Close your eyes.
My heart one too many times. I want to. It's just there's one time maybe I don't want to watch Benji on my stream because it's too scary. Every game these guys are rotating, they get troublesome or just in some form of situation where they can't control it. They get shot down, and then Benji goes down or Matzo goes down. They're so cool to watch in these end games. They're just not making it there every time today.
And the reason why they're here, this is the rotation. This is their Storm Surge plan coming into Hunter's Haven. And of course, Kenzel coming from Coral Castle. This is where they end up at the edge of zone. So that's why they're colliding. Kenzel's needing these Storm Surge tags to get into that fight.
Kenzel's also had such a rough time with zones in general and plays in general. Game 1 pushed down by Reason, the most recent game. They land at Coral Castle, that's the top left, and they have to run all the way over to the mountain on the bottom right. A running simulator basically for that team. And right now, Anas, Thomas, and Flick, you were talking about 43 above. This is 32 below, right? Not only just in Storm Surge damage, but in body temperature. These guys are kind of ice cold for the moment, not active, not finding any shots, not really living in the heat. Unfortunate, but a team beside them they can push.
And that team is Analyst's trio, and Analyst's trio is rotating early. They want no business of Anas's trio on the backside. If they could turn around and maybe get a crucial hit, Thomas's trio will go down. But we all know Thomas AC has been able to survive and help this team with a clutch sniper shot to get that viable Storm Surge tag. Let's go back into this engagement here of Amplify, Matzo, Benji going up against Kenzel's trio. DreamHack champions going against Matzo, Benji, and Amplify.
3 players, 4 letters, 1 word. That's ruin. No shields on Benji or Matzo. My man's got a blue pistol in the inventory in an open slot. Amplify down bad right now, but they can bring it back. This is the result of this entire fight. The mats are low too. They have to invest in metal this early into the game. I know we kind of tuned in later, but that's not usually what this trio wants to do. It's always a speed bump for their highway kind of type game. They want to just glide all the way over towards the end game untouched, unscathed. And I mentioned, they weren't making any end games before. I was talking as a full trio. They're obviously very consistent today. That's why they're still in the top 5, but they really perform when all 3 are alive in those final zones.
And it looks like Kenzel's not going to be part of that fight. Kenzel's a great solo player, like I mentioned, a DreamHack champion going down. So it's going to be a duo of Deceptos and Wakey to get the job done. But Benji, Amplify, and Matzo, all eyes of the EU region are watching this rotation as Benji does go down from the lobby focus. It looks like, oh my goodness, Matzo going for that Hail Maker. That downtown play gets rejected by Mexi, and that's going to be big considering, like I mentioned, they're sitting in 3rd place. And the Storm Surge plan did not work out for them. They went up. They had a box fight with Kenzel, exhausted their materials. They had to rotate late going further and went right into the arms of Verox's trio.
There's 3 different snipers active for this team as well. The Guild Gamma combination. Or it might not just be GG's in total for these guys. It might be a bad game overall because they're not finding their surge tags, not landing the snipes currently. It's troublesome. The zone as well. My favorite one in particular, Misty Meadows, islands, rivers, mountains. You have to pick where to go, and if you make the wrong choice, it's going to be one of the hardest rotations. We're now going towards the islands. Now kind of 3 different 50-50s playing. Will it kind of go towards a peninsula? Will it be kind of isolated on an island as well? The next zone is what I'm talking about. Or will it rebound all the way back towards a different side where a team had control? Will it go towards Misty Meadows, where Vidil, Noah Riley, and Reason are? Juriki right beside them. They got in a fight previously in the last game. A possible temptation for revenge on the other trio, but how do you know if it's Reason, Vidil, and Noah Riley on your box, on your walls? Maybe it's because they turn around and fight you. They're actually going to skip straight over and go for position.
Now we're seeing the leaderboard. Look at that. It's 20 points still separating Vidil and Janice's trio right now. Vidil playing right into that game plan that they have here, pushing a box fight. They already got a box fight against this trio today. I saw in the feed Deceptos and Wakey are still alive. They're still alive, getting a couple elims in the feed. So that run is still going. And look at that, man. The reputation, they just get out of dodge.
Really jumping back. And I'd like to just take this time to give you a breakdown of exactly where we are in this tournament. Right now, maybe we've been using crayons or mechanical pencils, things that are erasable, in terms of performance game to game over the 2 days. On this last back half of games, everything these guys do will be written with permanent marker for this final push in the finals. You will not be able to erase a mistake. You can stamp down your spot in the top 5 off of this game inside this tournament. So we'll see if it's possible. Anas, Thomas, and Flick are riding off the page right now, though. 155 damage below. I'm not sure if they have the credentials to be able to sign off on this game. That gas canister might give them a sightline in to make a few shots over, but that's Ardent, Pizza, and Artox. These guys are so good at playing defensively. Might not be possible. First place trio, though. Chapix is down.
Chapix and Hen and Janice here. This is what happens to the trios. Chapix now is down, so it's up to Janice and Hen to work this out. When they don't really function as a duo in these situations, you will see them kind of separate here, but they are all stars in the solo gameplay in these stacked lobbies.
All stars, but the night might just be over for the moment because, you know, they operate as a duo in the 7th circle. If my eyes don't deceive me, that number says 4 right now, and it's about to change to 5 in terms of circle number. Usually there are 3 people alive in that situation. You know, they're gonna have to just do this entire rotation with a third less of mats available to them in general. And Storm Surge strikes once again right below Anas, Flick, and Thomas. That's Refsguard, Scram, and Indretta, who are once again in a desperate spot. Storm Surge stops. So it was just one tag. Flick, Anas, and Thomas know there's a team below them that's possibly weak.
And they have a close to max pull here, and they still have work to do for Storm Surge tags. Yes, because they survive. It's just showing this lobby is being really aggressive this match. They still have to get their tags in. With a great rotation here, deciding to go on foot. Everybody, Knifer kind of invested in height here, did not work out, so now they're moving. Now that Knifer got a taste of height, they've been putting all their kind of marbles in that bag, and so far, all those marbles are on the floor. The plan has been thrown out the window.
Team Knifer makes the move all the way back into the top 15 to give you a scope as to how these rotations are going as well, why this is important. 5th place, 6th place, 3rd place down, no Verox, no Miro, no Matzo. Flick, Anas, Thomas, HD have a chance to just break into the top 3 here. It's all there now in this game for them. Past that, Inlex, Snazy, and X-Squeeze, these guys have a chance to break into top 5, currently in 7th place, and no teams aside from this one standing in their way. That's the Guild Gamma trio. So many people now not even risking for a high spot in these waters. They're keeping it low to the ground. They're trying to just ride these waves, but there's a rocket in the way, a torpedo of sorts stopping the boat rotation. Hen will be right beside Janice, but at the same time taking beams from up top. That's Vidil knocking on their roof. Do they have the foundation? Can they survive? They're teetering, tottering. Janice is down. Hen will be the last alive here. It's almost over for him too. The 1st place team might be stopped in their tracks.
Hen now has to survive as much as possible to hold on. No! DKS picks up Hen. That 1st place team got lobby focused. They saw the wood builds go out, and everybody knows that's a huge target here. Now that's going to be a big opportunity for Verdil to catch up, but a bigger opportunity for Anas' trio to get up closer here. But look at the rotation they have to make. It's another max pull rotation. Zone 6 is going up north towards the mountains, and look who is at height for that brief moment on the left of your screen, folks. It is Stompy's trio, and they're up high with an RPG. They're gonna go ahead and most likely, looks like Pink is actually gonna connect and tarp over. That's gonna be big, and a lot of mats are gonna be expended to anyone deciding to make this rotation on the water.
Complete water rotation. The zone doesn't bounce back. Low ground will run out of gas. Knifer's there all the way down below. Looking at Flick though, and Noah Riley are 2 big trios to watch this game. Pink, was he sniped off of height? Was that a big shot or not? Yes, he did take some damage, but he's not down completely. Or maybe, yes, he did get knocked by Thomas HD.
Wow.
He hit one of the best shots I've ever seen on the height. And Flick is moving up towards it. Anas is also trying to take it over. Eats the rocket,
RPG.
but defends it perfectly. Anas is close to taking it. Flick is still pushing for it more and more. Running out of mats though. He's so close to out of steam.
Oh my goodness, and now we have a top team at height, the 2nd place team going to this match. It is Vidil's trio who is sitting out there. Trulix's trio went down, and that's a huge opportunity for Vidil, Reason, Nor Riley, and they could get another victory out in this day here. But let's focus on Flick on the bottom right, who is fighting now with Thomas HG, trying to make all the promise in the world to get up their leaderboard here as much as possible. Storm Surge is active, but it will be turned off shortly as only 2 people have to go down. Let's see if Reason, Vidil, and Noah Riley, they could catch up, because 1st place did go down on earlier rotations.
It's all about changing hands of power now for this game. X-Squeeze is also all the way in the front side of the zone. Focused by Noah Riley for now. They don't have anything big to actually break that box. All the way up top. No one ahead of them right now. Hen, Janice, and Chapix once again have been eliminated here right now. Flick is down. So the 4th place team gets stopped in their tracks too. How far can Noah Riley really take this with Vidil and Reason? A harpoon to keep their refreshes all the way up top. The mats are going to be looking good. The ammo looking good too. And the low ground might be pulling up some elevation, which is huge for this team. Big shots on the Patty. He's about to go down. Just 1 Elam on Noah Riley right now. 2 on Vidil. They need to get more.
They need this right here, but also Analyst Trio needs that as well. They're on the front side coming into this match with the 7th place finish. If they could go ahead and move up the leaderboard as much as possible, this will be a huge opportunity to get to the top 5, and hundreds of thousands of dollars will be exchanged. Paco gets focused. Down goes Paco. Now Snazy's on the backside looking for some elims as possible. Analyst is on the front side trying to target the trio to a beautiful tunnel to get as many elims as possible. Pablo Wingo now is on the backside in trouble. Kiko in the top 10 is in trouble as well. Getting focus from height, he's going to have to retreat. Look at the feed light up with all the people from the backside of the storm, but that just gives Noah Riley, but Dylan Reason all the opportunities to walk away with the victory royale here in this match.
Now we're left with a 3v3. Stacey and Alex next squeeze down below. Reason, Noah Riley, and Vadil all the way up top. They're looking for their big position to go and shoot down. Pressure on top of the box. All of the trio in the mid ground is not going to be possible. Once again, 2 final teams really surviving it over all the way towards the end game circle. It's the 9th zone. We're looking at how they're going to go back and forth. Big shots over. Analyst takes a big shot too. He's down. Snazy, he gets his shield deleted. X-Squeeze, he's looking for a chance to actually clap back, but it's not possible. No sight lines to actually zoom in from. Snazy's pushing down lower and lower. There's no chance. Noah Riley's trying to follow too. In the same box as X-Squeeze, he trades shots. Noah Riley goes down. X-Squeeze has a chance of maybe making this all the way back alive from the zone. He finds the finish onto Noah Riley. He has that siphon too. Banana box with Reason. 2v1 for X-Squeeze. He wins 2. But deal now to 1v2. Is it possible? They're bringing it back. They could get the first place. Snazy on low. He provides the pressure. X-Squeeze on top. He provides the pinch. It's going to be possible. Vadil force all the way in the backside of the zone. 2 people left all the way towards the end. Vadil has heals though. The heal game might be the thing to trump things over, but there's 20 seconds still left in the zone. Snazy's there, still surviving. Not sure where X-Squeeze is. It's a huge divide from high to low. They're trying to focus and stop Vadil. They're going for it. Vadil with a big shot. X-Squeeze is going to be taken out by Vadil. Can he get the siphon? He can. Almost 1 second. No! And Vadil can't win it out. Snazy is there with a crazy 2v3. These guys win the game.
With 10 elims and the victory royale, and Snazy had chug splashes for insurance. There was no way he was going to lose that, but wow, what a great effort and some great fundamental low ground gameplay from Analyx's trio getting to the front side. But the big play was Snazy and X-Squeeze going to the backside, getting a lot of elims, and then as a duo doing so much damage to Vadil's trio. What a great finish between 2 titans.
Squeezed with a 2v1, basically isolating 2 fights. It was amazing. And then pinching, that was amazing. And then Snazy winning, that was more than amazing. And I feel like the analyst desk is probably riling up too. Guys, that was the best game possible.
Guys, this was 2nd place versus 7, okay? Vadil, Noah Riley, Reason, they're coming in. They're thinking, all right, we want to overtake first. If we could just pick up this victory royale, we could secure that. We can just close this gap. But no, it's Snazy, it's X-Squeeze, it's Andalex. They say, you know what? Chug splashes to that man over there. Go out of the storm. Don't worry. We're going to lock this up because this is the FNCS, baby. We want that axe, and we're not leaving without it.
I mean, I can guarantee that after that game, the leaderboards are totally shaken up because we've seen Hen in that game went down 17th. So just getting a single placement point for his team, obviously they had a 20-point lead. So I'm just going to guess that Rezon's up there in that first place slot. However, at the start of this day, you know, Andalex's team was sitting in that 8th and 9th place slot. After that massive victory royale with 10 eliminations, 50 points, like that might jump them up to the 2nd place at this point.
Yeah, we need to give these guys their flowers, right? Regardless of what the leaderboards are looking like right now, they have been incredible today. 4th place, 3rd place, 4th place, 1st place now. Like, you know, it's crazy. We talk about teams being able to be consistent. Teams having a bad day 1, coming through day 2, saying, look, day 1 was just a mistake. That's not who I am. This is who they are. They are one of the best trios in EU, and they just showed it right there.
They could very well be the bosses. My anime reference at the beginning of the show, coming from the shadows and saying, we are the secret villains. We are the ones that stand in your way. And they very well could take it all away to the top of the mountain, holding the Axe of Champions high. Boys, when we're kind of talking about this, there's these spots 2nd through 5th. What do these guys need to do? Any of these trios could do it.
So when we made this, it was 3rd down to 5th at this point. Now I don't know what these leaderboards are looking like, but you know, we've seen Mexi Verox have some massive games today. You know, they've really been on top form today. And, you know, we saw them consistently getting eliminations. The first 2 games, they both popped off with 8 eliminations and then 4. And that's going to move them up into that 5th place slot. But, you know, after that last game, 22nd with a single elimination. So, you know, they started strong, but they're kind of slowing down a little bit. If they want to get up into the top slot and really perform, get that top 5, even the top 3, these next 2 games are going to have to be huge for them.
Yeah, those guys got to bring it home for the UK, right? They're repping that side of the region. And so it is possible, right? If they sort of can get back to what they were doing a couple games before, it's possible. Speaking of their biggest rivals, though, Thomas, Anas, and Flick pushed those guys out of Dirty Docks, and you can see their vintage snipe from Thomas HD. That's what he's known for. These guys have had a decent day, right? They're not doing too bad. It's just about being able to find some of the form that they had yesterday, right? You know, they whipped out a 3rd place game yesterday. A 3rd place game now for them would be invaluable, right? It means so much for them in terms of bringing them up the standings. Benji Fishy, though, fan favorite, Matt Slow and Amplify, these guys were amazing yesterday. They've been decent today, right? They've still been able to hang up, but they need a huge game, right? They haven't had like a 3rd place game, a 1st place game. They haven't had any of that. And so can we see Benji sort of, you know, bring out some sort of massive clutch that we've seen him do time and time again in the past in other competitions? Who knows? Taking a look at that leaderboard though, Reese, you were right. But Dylan O'Reilly and Reason with that game pushed themselves into that 1st place slot.
You know, what's interesting about this is the fact that we have 2 games remaining, and this is still so tight. You know, last season, we saw the same battle going on. It was between Mongrel, Tayson, and Mitro's team going up against Andalex's team, who, by the way, creeped up into 3rd there. We saw this battle and it went down to the last game. And I feel like this is going to do the exact same thing. These 2 teams in the top are probably some of the best 2 fighting teams in the region. But not only that, look, they've got the most victory royales and the most eliminations going off. So they're really performing on almost every front. But we can also see that Flick, Anas, and Thomas States, you mentioned, where they're now currently in that 4th place slot. Coming into today, you know, Thomas HT on this team had 19 eliminations. He had the most out of anyone. And they're still really high up there on that eliminations, but they're just not able to capitalize on the placements and get into those top 3. This is where it matters. And they had only 1 game of 10 where they managed to get into the top 3. So they're really relying on their eliminations right now and not managing to get there. So these next 2 games are going to have to be crucial for these teams.
Yeah, Reese, I talked about in last game whether it's going to be a 2-man race. You know, I think Andalex might have heard me because he clearly was like, nah, Levin, look, we are pushing to get involved in this race. We were like the champions. He was so close last season. He wants to try get it now.
I think they've put their running boots on. Now it's in time for the race.
Yeah, clearly, right? Taking a look here at the standings, you can see from 11th to 15th, for these teams, right, you got to dig deep. You know, you really have to dig deep if you want to be in a position where, you know, you're up on that sort of higher tier when it comes to the earnings, the prizing being handed out. And so, you know, it's possible. One huge game can sort of swing things for you. Really still fine margins. Who's going to be able to pull out something huge? I don't know. We're going to find out soon, right?
Only 2 games left, Levin. We're coming down to the wire, but we're not going to skip a beat. It is time to board the battle bus once again because we're going into the next game. Shia Wager Sancho, back your way.
I like Sancho a lot before, though, you know? That was a cool tag one.
I vibe with it. It works for me. A Shy OS, I will take if you're not into the whole brevity thing, you know? But wow, the big name statements that are happening from the big names in the EU region is real. And we only have 2 more opportunities before a EU FNCS champion is crowned. Mongrel, Mitro, and Tayson, this is where things were getting really tight for them in these games. This is where they were being contested. But the deal, Reason, and O'Reilly, they're just too scary to contest. There's not any kind of vault that the trio could kind of jump into, go all the way to fight Tayson. You're going to have to do it with your own builds, with your aim and your skill and your mechanics. And I don't think anyone has the, I guess, they can't step up to the plate. They're not going to do it. And that will give a huge, big-time 2-game performance between Badil's trio. But wow, still, a lot of big names in this fight. Andalix, Xweez, Snazy, great fundamental play on the low ground, got them in, and still have an opportunity to have a 3-trio race at the end. But still, Shayo, don't count out Benji, Amplify, and Matzo. If they could get a pop-off game, and another decent game going forward, they could sneak into that top 3 as well.
I don't want to count them out, but it feels like every game they are getting counted out, unfortunately. I'm not sure if it's position, if they're running into another team that really wants to fight. I know that was, what happened last time with Kinzel. It's just unfortunate for them overall from the journey from early to mid, and very specifically from mid game to end game. They need to perfect that. They've fallen from Grace second all the way to 5th place right now. 100% though, I believe they can clap back. Speaking of clapping, this is exactly what Reason, Noah Riley, and Vidil have been doing today over and over again, pushing a different team and getting a full squad wipe.
It's still dangerous. This is so dangerous. Even though they've been winning these engagements throughout the entire day, this is still going to be a very intense fight. We see that a 0 on the board can make you slip, considering that Hen and Elix and Flick, they could pop off. So this is still a very dangerous engagement we're about to watch.
Still look at those HP bars, right? The big downs. You have Legends. Both these guys do not have that much HP. One tag from either of these guys, it could be over.
All right, here we go. This is an intense situation. Big tags on EDQ to start off this engagement. It's going to be a big, valuable, wow. I was trying to build up some intensity, bro. I was trying to build a story. I had everything ready to go.
Man, you know who we're dealing with? These guys are done taking normal fights. They're now just pinpointing exactly who's weak on the map. Where's the fight actually happening? Is this the first time we're watching them in Holly as well, bro? This is disgusting.
I mean, yesterday they had a battle of Holly Hedges, right? They showed up and they fought Benji, Matzo, Amplify. Nico came in from the backside and took out Vidil's trio. So that's what happened here. But like I said, they've been scary throughout the entire time, and their reputation precedes them. And now they're going to single out Legends here. And I've been in this situation before in a high stakes tournament. When someone sees you by yourself, you are gone. You are going to be eliminated and sent to the lobby with the first class ticket. And hey, it's not fun when you're that person right away. I could trust me. I know.
It's tough, man. I also think, like, for all these guys' keyboards in general, maybe it was like in between day 1 and day 2. I heard this legend that they all dropped their keyboards by accident off their desks. And then, you know, all those keys scattered. The only ones left were the ones in Vidil's house. They were all just W's, all W keys. That's the names, the where they're now just in first place overall with a sizable lead going on the last 2 games. I mean, it's nuts.
It's literally W, whatever bind they have to edit, and then the left click. That's it.
That's all they need.
That's all they need. Look first at this map here. It's a central zone. So this is going to be a huge opportunity for Savage's trio to make some moves up the leaderboard. I know we've been saying that name for we've been waiting for him to make a move up. It just hasn't been there. I really believe their Storm Surge strategy has been really affected by Michael's trio that's sitting in the center, by Cisse's trio, by being at Risky Reels. A lot of other trios that are tough to take out have been affecting Savage's trio. It looks like Thomas HC, he's getting Brucey involved, and we all know that, hey, the RPG could drop out of this shark.
Not sure if it's part of their game plan, though, you know.
Oh, it is.
If you have Thomas HD hitting snipes on someone in high ground, do you need rockets? They're slower. Thomas is about moving fast, man. He's getting old.
They needed it. They need it. I know age is creeping up.
True.
In-game age, by the way.
In-game age, yeah.
I know it's creeping up, but they really needed that. I mean, because that snipe put them like 400 when in those moving zone. Granted, a lot of people were dropping like flies, but still they needed it. And that's the big time playmaker that Thomas HC needs. So let's go back. Let's kind of scale back. You talk about Benji breaking your heart. You know, has those opportunities, a lot, you know, hundreds of thousands of people watching him stream, cheering him on while they watch him get that game 2 victory, a fan favorite. But what's it gonna take for Benji, Amplify, and Matzo to move up their leaderboard? They were holding on that 3rd spot. Now they slipped down to 5th place.
They need a zone. They just need to have like a triple zone situation. You know what I mean? Like, just get 3 zones right on them, and they can easily control a game to get all the way towards the very top. They've only ever gone down on rotation. It's always on rotation, very close as well, like walking across the street. But then there's a big bus that just comes right by and takes them out of the game 24/7. It's literally a game of meters for these guys every single time. It's just so tragic to watch.
Every rotation, you think max pool, short pool, dead center. When it comes to this high stakes tournament, when it comes to these set lobbies, it's not going to be easy. And now look at the power that Vidil, Reason, and Noah Riley have. Look, they push fights. They don't care. If they can have a pistol, they'll push a fight. That's where they're at right now. But now you're giving them those power weapons, and now they're going to go all in. Vidil must be dripping in that gold because he's literally upgraded all the way to purple tech, now a blue lever shotgun. So now look at that. Luxury, whip lashes. energy efficient car, no doubt. I think that they have as well. They have all those things. No, scratch that. These cars run on gas, but the energy is high for Vidil's trio. They're on high octane rotations and movement. But here is what I'm talking about. Benji's trio, they did this last game. This is their plan for tags, and Kenzel's trio showed up here and slowed them down on their next rotation.
Right now, basically, we're living in the house of the top 5, and what everyone's trying to do is close and lock the doors for their position. The people with the door that is almost basically fully closed is Vidil, Noah Riley, and Reason. We've seen them a couple of times. There they are, 247 points coming into this game. Already have 2 elims. Now they're bumped up all the way past the 250 threshold.
Let me tell you what's at stake here. First place, $300,000. Second place, $210,000. Third place, $135,000. Fourth, $120,000. Fifth place, $105,000. And if you drop out of that fifth place, that's $15,000 that you lose. Other than that, drop below 6 to 7, another $15,000. So every placement going down from 5th to 10th, you are losing $15,000. That's $5,000 a piece.
So every team all across the board is still fighting for more. But I still want to keep talking about doors, man. Like, when it comes to that first place team, right? They're so close to closing it. If Vidil, Reason, and Noah Riley right now end up winning this game, get like 30, 40, or 50 points, I think that's just locked in.
Okay.
That's a full nice finish, because like there's no one's going to be able to fully catch up to them game after game. They'll have to have another phenomenal performance, and we see these guys alive in every single game. They're here right now in this game to lock that door.
Last season, we were talking about Andalex's trio run. They had that opportunity. The door was open from them for so many games because Mongo Mitro rotation could not close it like you're looking for Vidil's trio. They just could not close it, and it was just a mere matter of points that Mongo Mitro Tayson were able to win. So this door here is wide open considering that it's this close with 2 games, and these teams are looking healthy, Shio. There's no one really pushing them. There's no one really trying to stop them from doing what they're doing. So that's what you mean, man. Literally so many trios have that opportunity to pop off here. We all know they have it. We all have seen it. We've seen the qualifiers, the heats, and now they have to do it when it matters the most with only 2 games left.
You know what the weakness to most doors are, though? The door-to-door salesman. They'll come knocking. They'll put their foot in the door. And Snazy and Alex Next Squeeze, they definitely have things to sell. Other people's performances. They want to make sure that no one has a chance to go through. They've taken out trio after trio, moving up the rankings. Even took out Vidil, Noah Riley, and Reason in the last zone of that final game to have a seat at the top 3, to have more than even a foot in the door. So they have a chance to keep things completely open. They need to survive this game. Already have 1 elim. It looks good for Snazy. 10 peppers as well. That is key in having some of the fastest speed you can at pushing rotations, at pushing height. It makes the difference, and it's so hard to find on the map. Caddy corner is such a big spot to land there because of that, right? They'll have even more power coming in this end game. Just keep those doors open.
Now we see the zone 2's revealed. This is going to be huge for Janice's trio alongside with Hayden Chapix. This zone, last time we saw they had the zone in the day, they were able to walk away with the victory royale. They are basically a mirror situation here. They go right to that same tree mountain. That's going to be a prime real estate for everyone to push in. But I think Hayden Chapix and Janice here, they're basically going to sit there and hold on to it a lot stronger this time around. And you're seeing the prime real estate as well of Colossal Coliseum coming into play. We always talked about people being on the 4 corners right here as Snazzy takes some hits here, making this rotation. Ooh, another
more
one.
Than a hit.
Ooh, that's a big one right there.
And then a kick. He's almost knocked out, but he's got this corner by his side. He'll have the minis and the chucks to use overall. It's going to be all good for now. More trios, though, rolling from the backside while he has to heal and farm up. That could be a position for them to come in and throw down.
And at least this time around, Storm Surge not a factor here for Analex's trio. They're currently 491 above, looking really good. That's why they were making this kind of dead side rotation. But again, another person had the same idea, and that's Thomas and Austin Flick. So we have the top of the board here. Oh my goodness. We're talking about more than $15,000 at stake here on this rotation.
It's kind of a walk down memory lane as well. You know, last season, when you were talking about Mongo Mitro Tayson, right, in general, I'm going to talk about how it looked like after 10 games. Analyst, Thomas HD, and Benji, and of course, Benji was on a different team that time too. these guys are in the same position inside the top 5, right? Like, this is very reminiscent of what we saw before. But remember, before we had power POIs, that doesn't exist as much anymore. It's more about the flavor of power you just want inside your team. For Thomas and Austin Flick, it's about rotations, snipes, storm surge damage. For Snazy, Analyst, and Squeeze, it's about those peppers, that fast end game you can play, and really pushing every possible pocket of a box of some space, having it for yourself. They have such a big base right now, big position on the right side, and even better rotation to make. We could talk about Benji as well a little bit, right? For him, it's about making these end games. No matter where it is, as long as that trio's alive, they perform so well. The issue is they haven't survived so far to get to that point. And, you know, the biggest new flavor in town now, I'm not sure what type of special name you need to give to them. It might just be, you know, the full aggro. Maybe that's the flavor's name. Reason, Noah Riley, and Vidil, they come in not caring about what your preference is, what you want to eat. They will just shut you down, box after box, push after push. They're just walking in the open right now.
And Noah
awesome
Riley,
rotation, but uninterrupted.
That's right. I mean, we saw this last time with, I believe it was Hen's trio, or they were kind of just free walking away. Actually, it was Thomas HG's trio. We saw them in one of the finals in the heats, actually, when they were really popping off. They were literally walking out in the open. There would be a team fully boxed up, watching them rotate and not engaging in them. That's how scary they were. Thomas HG in that heat where they popped off with 2016 limbs. That same kind of respect is being played with Vidil's trio. No one wants to engage with them because they know as soon as they hit them, they're going to be keyed. But I really think Vidil's trio is finding a way to slow down just a little bit. They had looked into a third-party situation against that Ingram battle. They decided, no, let's go ahead and play for some placement here. If they could slow down just a little bit, kind of play it in-game, that means it's going to solidify to what you said, closing the door on other teams trying to catch up to them.
Now everything's kind of setting in the sand. First time I'm watching these top trios not boxed up on top of each other, separate bases. Especially as a part of, you know, being in the Coliseum, you'd assume some of these teams would have a spot all the way near that side, but not going to be there this time. A desert zone 2, you have to remember, map management is the key when you see sand. 100%. And we know some of these teams have the best of it in different styles, you know, for a reason. It's not about managing mass. It's just get another Elam, you know, another 1,500 mass for you. There you go. For Thomas, flicking an Nas might be a little bit different, right? Controlling one side of the zone, looking back for beams, and then harpooning things.
I got scared.
I got scared.
I got scared, dude.
My man's taking pistol shots and not moving. Vidil, you're crazy.
He's going in. He's making sure the small bullets. Big tag right there. Whites. Now they have an opportunity here. They could kind of sneak in another shot, sneak in some valuable tags as well. I think the sniper shot was his teammate hitting him in the shoulder. But look at the zone. It's a huge pull right here, but they do have some leeway to work with. That river is not going towards the direction they need to rotate to, but there's still a very dangerous rotation. But looks like Mr. J's trio, who have been having a very consistent day in day 1, not finding the same footing here in day 2.
It's always different on either day. The stakes are higher too. In day 1, we saw every single game was still stacked. You know, 30 trios alive for a majority of the portion. But when that storm surge hit, you know, we stayed at 70 all the way till half and half. Now that the competition's ending, people are getting desperate. They're going for their plan E's, their plan F's instead of B's and C's. They're sticking to outside their guns, outside their box, and really pushing for things to keep them in the competition.
A little fatigue is definitely setting in, and I was listening to the NA West. I was watching some, you know, watch parties. Shout out to all the watch parties out there. I was watching them and I was hearing comms that sometimes they're like, yo, I never landed here before. I never rotated here before. I have no clue what I'm doing. That's what ends up happening here when you've exhausted every kind of plan or any kind of scrim idea, practice scrim that you've done before, and now you're just up against it, back against the wall. Some people's walls are completely gone.
Anas, Thomas, and Flick want to rebuild those walls 100%. 4th place coming in to this next game right now. Vidil, Norai, and Reason trying to make sure they stay in the lead. And Janice and Chapix, they want to be here too. Right now, our top 10 teams are all alive for this game. And for Thomas, Anas, and Flick, they're way ahead of Surge. The thing that's held them back so far, they've cut the tape off and now are inside the crime scene wanting to do more.
And keep an eye on 6 through 10. We're talking about Verax's trio, Miro's trio, Slender's trio, and Cammy's trio, and DKS's trio. $15,000 if they fall. I know there's still one more game left, but it's going to be huge if one of them does go down. And Vidil actually gets knocked by Verax.
Wow, so that is literally 5th, trying to climb all the way back in, trying to get higher up in the rankings. Might just be a snipe, though, because you know how far these guys are. No, it's a box fight, right, side by side. But I don't see Verax anywhere, so might have been an overpeak. I have a deal.
I'm telling you, their game plan of taking box fights, sometimes it could backfire right now. I mean, we've seen so many aggressive players throughout the world. Sometimes their aggression, their instinct gets them in trouble. Sometimes they overpeak. Sometimes they put an edit that they're not supposed to do, and they get hit in the face really hard and knocks them down. So that's what happened to Vidil, one of the best box fighters in the world, one of the most aggressive fighters in the world, and now it's going to be up to Noah Riley and Reason, who are looking for redemption from last season. They have an opportunity here to kind of close that big door. Let's keep that metaphor going. This door just got a little bit heavier, and there's a lot of things in that way. That door-to-door salesman foot just got bigger.
Absolutely, and right now, forget about salesmen. I'm looking at just pioneers, captains of the scene right now with Guild and Gamma, the trio, Anas, Thomas HD, Flick, high ground position. Talked about it. You give these guys one game. What was the number? Sancho, 26 elims the other day?
26 elims and a second place finish.
That was huge. They're trying to replicate that. We'll see if it's possible. 663 damage above as well. They have Benji, Matzo, and Amplify to fight on the other side of high ground as well.
This is going to be an all or nothing rotation here. Huge rotation here. 5th zone showing up. Strong opportunity here. 5 elims so far. And take a look here. Sitting perched up top is Matzo's trio on the other side.
Look at everything all around. More people down all the way towards the bottom. Looks like Benji has the better base all the way towards the top side. Snazy's there all the way on low right behind Ref's guard. And at the same time, Hen is below Benji. So if anyone slips for even a second at this moment, it could spell disaster. Teak, Seti, and Cammy are also on the sight lines of Snazy. They're alive in this game. They were put on ice, Sancho, for this entire tournament run so far. Right now, they could defrost, come back, and have a say in the top 5.
And that's what it comes down to. It's going to come down to performance as much as possible here on these rotations. Everyone has to stick together. Analex's trio had a great game in the previous one, being together, sticking to the fundamentals of FNCS trio play.
We're looking at Reason's POV. He's the last person alive, also way back in the zone. It's the 6-1 rotating. He's trying to get something done, but it's absolutely not possible. Unfortunate. Still actually just staying alive towards the very side, but man, as a solo player, this is going to be very, very tough.
Very tough, but Reason can do this here. Every placement point matters now that we're in the 17th. Now they're getting dished out.
Absolutely, and I'm still looking forward to see exactly what we can see from Reason over here, but it's very tricky in terms of him being able to survive. We'll hop around a few POVs and see exactly what's possible in this scenario. Still looking at a majority of these teams. It's getting crazy. Reason actually elevated a few layers. The zone is starting to move. 41 different players alive. Top 17, so placements here. Reason can still find a way for his team to stay here if he survives in the #1 spot. He's getting bullied from down below. Don't slip now, my man. You got to stay alive. You got to stay up. Right above Savage and I drop 2. He's looking for a way forward. 50 damage above Surge. He's keeping the throne for himself and his team.
Now he's going into a other instinct mode of just fight and survive as much as possible. Close to out of mats. Now he's down to only just the soft mat. So he's going to be a big target here. He's going to have to switch layers. He's going to have to move. He's going to have to bounce to survive as much as possible. He is still getting placement as the other trios are going down. Thomas HC Amplify getting some big knocks in the feet. Reason, the wood build from behind was just not as strong enough to handle the beams.
Just 5 placement points for him to roll with in this game. Would that be the difference to keep them in first? Hen, Chatfix, and Janice have an opportunity to push forward and claim that prize.
Snazy and Alex and X-Squeeze are still in this fight in 3rd place now. We're going to have to keep an eye on where Vidil, No Riley, well, Reason's now has been frozen in time. That is going to be something where he's locked in. Hen's trio is still on their feet here, and solo is Thomas HD. So Benji's right there getting triple beamed here.
RPT!
RBG comes in and stops the triple beam. They got to go back to the defensive stance. And look at height. It is Thomas HD and Nos and Flick going against Pizza's trio.
It's trying to just hold it all the way up top. Thomas has run out of shields, is popping a few more. This is a big bot. All the way down below, he's still looking for some chances to shoot down. Flick gets forced down slightly.
It's Matzo and Benji Fishy. Whoa, my goodness.
Stacey went down completely. Those guys get frozen in time. Third place not to get any more points in this game. Ardent is also getting bullied. Flick has found an opening, and he finds a few shots. He lands them.
This is going to be big for Flick, Thomas, and Anas right now. 10 elims and control of the high ground. Hen is down below with Janice here with Chapix, and they have a big fight with Tayson and Savage. That's going to be a big layer-to-layer fight engagement here. Let's go down low. Cubix gets taken down by Hen. Hen, Janice, and Chapix are fighting together. They're looking strong. They're usually down to duos, but as a trio, they're still deadly, and they take out Tayson easily.
That's another big pickup. Benji's also active in the feed, but now they're taking damage. Hen, big chunk splashes, keep him alive in the zone. What a pocket play right there. But Gil Gamma is still up top. They're reading down big beams. Just one left. It's Hen. Can he make the difference? No, so close.
Flick, Anas, and Thomas HC now has an opportunity to keep moving up the board, considering second place is down. Huge opportunity now. It's 11 elims and a top 3 finish, but they want more than that. Matzo gets bopped. Benji Fishy gets bopped. It's a top 2 and a victory royale, and you said the door might be closed. Anas, Thomas HC, and Flick are about to kick the door wide open. Cammy Seti are holding on as much as possible. This trio has had a bad day all day long, but you know you could shake off an L with a big fat W, but Flick says take this L, Seti, right to the chest. Flick and Austin Thomas HC cannot be stopped, and they pick up Teak. Oh my goodness, this trio from a blaze from up high is now putting so much pressure on Cammy, and Cammy's deep with the heels, but he's getting big time tagged in the back. But wow, what a finish from Thomas HD, Flick, and Anas, baby.
16 eliminations, I think. Man, and they kept the heat up enough to actually bring Seti all the way towards the end game too. Nice to, get those guys off of some ice, but still, that entire end game was basically just the top 5, top 10 teams battling it out.
16 elims on the final stage, and one of the last 2 games of the finals. Talk about clutch, Shio.
I thought it was going to be concrete. I thought we were basically done and it'd be the same patterns over and over, but finally these guys get one game. They get an inch. I want to see how long they actually drag this whole thing out now. We have the desk ready. We have Reese, Levin, and Zeke. We need to know exactly what happened that game.
So much has unfolded off of this last game. Sancho, West, and Shywage, they made a statement earlier on in that game. They talked about this being like a book. And right now, we're nearing the final chapter of this book. And we don't know who the author is, because the author are your trio's champion. Right now, gentlemen, this is coming down to the wire. This is like Thomas, Flick, and Anas coming in. They came into this game in a second place, right behind first place team, trying to pull ahead. And with this game, they very well may have cemented themselves in that #1 spot going into this last game. It's possible, depending on what happens, they may have just closed out the entire competition.
There was so much to break down in that last game. It feels like,
oh my God,
it was like an all-star match almost. Going into the end game, all the big names that we've been talking about through this entire game were still up. They were still relevant in the entire game. And that last 3 players, last 2 teams alive, was almost like basically the top from day one, right? We saw so many teams. You saw Flick, Anas, and Thomas HD, which have moved themselves up to 3rd after that. That is incredibly close as well. Now being 4 points behind Vidil, Norali, and Rezon, but Hen, Janice, and Chapix managed to pick up 28 points in that last game with 7 eliminations, still in the 1st place slot.
We're going into the final game of the FNCS with, what, an 11-point gap between 1st, 2nd, and 3rd?
Yep.
It doesn't get much better than this. Like, we're about to see one of these teams, have to ultimately win the game to be the champions. Like, this is about to get just all sorts of crazy. My brain's turning to mush. I literally just don't even know. Like, this is just way beyond the realms of possibility for me. Looking at who's here from 6th to 10th, though, right? We still have some of these teams who, they are lagging a bit behind in points, but, if somebody was to replicate what we just saw from Thomas and Flick, right? They just had what, like a 62-point game, like a 62-point game for Cammy's team right now. That would put them, you know, in sort of 250-point range. It'd put them well in the way of being able to, you know, up their earnings in that sense. So really, we're looking like, oh, the final game's about to be mad, Reese.
The final game is about to be so intense. Like I said, 11 points between the top three. Everyone has to be focusing on these three teams right now. If you're looking outside of these three teams, yes, there's more prize money for every time you move up those slots. But let's be real, the Axe of Champions is currently presiding. Looks like it's going to Hen, Janice, and Chapix if it was just frozen right here. However, it could go either way. And, you know, these guys have been popping off all day and all day yesterday too. You know, definitely hotter today than they were yesterday. We saw kind of Seti, Cammy, Teak popping off so much yesterday, taking that first place slot, but slowing down a lot today. They're also starting to slow up and speed up in this last game too.
Guys, I want to know from both of you, right? I'm turning into my little host right here. Sorry, Zeke, I'm taking your job. I want to know from both of you, right? What's the team talk going into this, right? Like, the final game, you have to have a huge game. Like, what are you saying to your teammates? Like, it's a massive moment.
Bro, take it, Zeke. Take it out. I want to hear it.
Listen, you go into this last game like it's any other game, because the moment you start to put all this pressure on yourself and you think this is it, we can't mess up, you're gonna lose. If you go into this and say, we've spent our entire Fortnite career training for this moment in time, we do everything, we've done the same, we know we can win, so don't think about it. Let's just go take the Axe for ourselves.
Man, I feel like, you know what? It doesn't matter what these teams say to each other, because I think they need to get Zeke in the call right now. He is going to motivate whoever's team Zeke joins. They're in first place. I'm putting my money on that right now. That's a speech and a half right there. But, you know,
honestly,
I was gonna say, any of these teams right now, really, they need to just stay positive. They need to stay confident. Every single team in the top three has the ability to perform, and they have performed so far. So, like, they just need to stay confident, play their game that they're doing. I am so excited for this next game. It's actually unbelievable.
My heart is skipping beats right now. Fortnite fam, this is it. One final game, and we will know which trio walks away your FNCS champions. Let's do this one last time in Chapter 2, Season 5. Shia Wager, Sancho, Shancho. Let's get it, boys.
Pop-offs, comebacks, tyranny, defeat. We've seen it all here now in the last 11 games in EU. Sancho, we have one more to sign off with that'll change everything in the standings.
Let me give you a number, folks. 11 points separate the top 1 to number 5. 11 points. Elims are worth 2. Everything matters and everything is on the line. Don't you go anywhere, because it's about to go down right now.
Absolutely. There's been a different team popping off and coming back all the way towards the end. We just saw one game. That's all Thomas and Austin Flick needed to stay and be inside the conversation for top 3. We just saw the whole day be owned by Noah Riley, Vidil, and Reason. Back-to-back aggression, a few wins here and there, a few top placements. It's beautiful to watch. And at the same time, we're watching Hen, Janice, and Chapix just play Fortnite at the most perfect top percentage level every single game. You honestly cannot predict which way you want it to go. You can only hope that this team, you know, or any of these teams give us the best game of our lives.
Now we're having a look here. Vidil, Noah Riley, and Reason. We've been taking crazy engagements, getting into box fights, getting into scrums all around the Fortnite island, showing no mercy to anyone that's in their path. Now, can you do that same thing when it's all on the line? Hundreds of thousands of dollars for every placing points. That's the biggest question I probably asked all weekend. Man.
It's a big difference still.
The big difference. You say playing Fortnite every day, like every other day. I don't know, man. We're talking about opportunities to be a a 2-time FNCS champion in analyst. We have Thomas HC seeking his first big-time major, time, and it's alongside with some of the Benji Fishies of the world. This is what I'm talking about. Janice again going for a 2-time FNCS championship. Hen, I would say the same thing, right? Hen looking for the opportunities for his first major FNCS championship. Let's get it, man. Let's get it.
It's huge for Thomas too, absolutely, yeah. Because of that factor, you know, wants that major win on his side. So we'll talk about the flavor of these top 3 teams for Thomas HD, Flick, and Anas. You know, you'd think it'd be Vidil, Noah Riley, and Reason, but these guys are leading in elims right now, just by 1 ahead of Vidil. 66 rolling into the day. That's what's keeping them near the top. The 16 push we just had from last game. If they get hyped again, it has to be wraps. At the same time, we've seen the retakes from Vidil, Reason, Noah Riley. They're stopping some of the best trios in the region from controlling the game. Because of this, they have 65 elims, an average placement of 12. So they're just getting aggressive before the end game even starts. And because of this, every single game, they're now in 2nd place. For the 1st place team, though, these guys are absolutely perfect. An average placement of 7th, average elims of 5 every game. 2 victory royales. Hen, Janice, and Chapix have had the most screen time, honestly, because they're in every single end game.
This is going to be such a difficult rotation. You saw we have zone 1, which is just as important as zone 9. Zone 1 shows us it's going to be a northeast type of engagement. Already, we've seen Hen, Janice, and Chapix do really well with these zones. So this is going to be a tough rotation for Amplify, Matzo, and Benji. We've seen them go through Colossal Coliseum. We've seen them sand tunnel up to that center location here in front of the Orchard. Vidil, Noah Riley, Reason, they tend to rotate on that top left side, making their way past Pleasant Park, going from the Blue Bridge. So expect them to be there. And Andalix, Stacey, and X-Sweeze coming in from the right side of the Colossal Coliseum. So you're going to see all these kind of dead side rotations because you know those teams are not looking for a fight. But Noah Riley is going to look for a fight because this is his Storm Surge plan. But look at that mini-map, Shio. There's only 1 team at Holly Hedges, and I'm thinking Vidil's going to go visit Holly Hedges soon.
Maybe, but man, every time I'm watching these guys upgrade, it's just not fair. Look at this. Look at the loadout. Chugs minis, the fastest heals you can have in the game. They just don't have floppers. I guess they don't want to fish. They don't need them. And then a full purple gold loadout too. This is just, it's going to be a monster inside a box fight.
And we're talking about monster rotations. Anas, Flick, and Thomas HG basically make the same rotation as Analyx's trio. We've already seen them be neighboring rotational partners. We see that they are basically the buddy system moving along. It's always deadly when they make this rotation.
They don't have to make the rotation technically, right? They got zone. This is their game potentially. They got the zone. If Dirty ever gets zone, we've seen it just completely take over the entire game. Still, they'll have to play a slightly different game because they're not hunting for elims right now. They're fighting for control of different spots on the map.
And you're seeing them, look at this. They're going to take this coastal rotation maybe. But okay, let's put that on pause. This is big here. All of a sudden, the Holly Hedges team, who's been getting hit all day, now are going to decide to fight back. And this is going to be a big engagement for Noah Riley, Vidil, and Reason. They have to survive this. They do get aware really nicely right now. But wow, Legend here and Karma could stop the ride for right now for Vidil, Noah Riley, and Reason. We're talking about $100,000 on this line in this engagement here. But still, there's some money from Legends Trio, but they're stepping up to the plate. Nice play from Noah Riley, Vidil, and Reason, taking 2 of them out, and they get their valuable Storm Sags as well, and the ability to continue on in this match.
2 full shielded enemies knocked down to 0. 2 full enemies double shot and then sniped in the head on the down but knocked out or not out state. This is huge for this team. They've just earned freedom in this game to do whatever they want. They can box up now in Big Chill. They can go push even more and just get tags. Don't have to fully even finish any fights if they don't want to. That is big. And with the 4-point catch up there, they're now only 3 points behind Hen, Janice, and Chapix right ahead of them. Flick and Austin Thomas do fall slightly far behind, but remember the advantage these guys have. It's zone. Look at this. They have complete control of this whole mountain. No one's going to be rotating here just really quick at all. And everyone who's fighting for the center of the zone right now will get tagged by Flick, Thomas, and Anas.
And they love this mountain range. This is where they know exactly where to peek. We already saw Thomas HG literally taking snipes through a tree that he can't even see. This is where they like to be. This is where they're going to find some value. They have to make sure that their shots hit. On the other side of the thing, you have Hen, Janice, and Chapix here. They're going to take their time, get all the fishing spots down here, maybe go out to the Flopper Island if they need to. They have options on their rotations. They could go ahead and go push out someone who's just survived out there in Steamy Stacks. They can make their way to Stealthy Stronghold. That's all in their game plan. They've done it before. The question is, where is Zone 2 going to go? And that's going to change as well. I think what's been working from them is getting to center very early and establishing a great base. That's worked every time here today when Zone pulls up north.
It's worked every time on expeditions and adventures though, right? The thing is, with this zone, hasn't been too much of a commonplace in EU. These guys are now at home, basically living in the same house, realizing they're gonna have to fight each other. It's not about just, leaving, putting on your coat, going to a mountain, going to the desert, or going anywhere else. With the North Zone, all three of these teams, our top three, are comfortable sitting on their couches, but having to act, play, and take control. That is very hard to do in Fortnite.
If there's anything that could teach us what 2021 to 2020 to 2021 is, you could do things remotely, and we've been rocking it from home, and those boys have been rocking it from home as well. They're going to go to Remedy's house here, going to crash into this home, about to get right in this house here, and see, they have to be careful here as well. Kenzel and Waking Deceptos, that's not an easy out. Even though they're not having a great day, still some big time decorated teams out there that could slow you down. And that just shows you, they say it's not worked. We got some tags. Let's go ahead and get out of here, because all it takes is one snipe to slow you down and ruin your rotation. It looks like Zone is going to pull more east a little bit. If I had to guess, Shio, it's going to be a little bit north of the Cami split.
That's huge for Thomas HD, Anas, and Flick. There's only two teams right now fighting in. Good guess. There we go. And they'll be on a mountain just outside Dirty. Now they'll have to just rush in. There's no one taking control of anything right now. They can get in first, take tags at anyone moving in, but at the same time, from where they are, take good tags as well. We're looking at Hen, Janice, and Chapix, who just talked about it, Sancho. They chose to disengage for their arsenal, their weaponry. It's all about shields. It's all about just big boxes, armor. They want to make sure wherever they're walking, they're not getting hits like Flick just did. It's just a long-range snipe. It's fine. He'll be okay. For Vidil, Noah Rally, and Reason, it's about spears, swords, maces. They want to break down boxes, break down the shields for the people right in front of them. In terms of Hen, Janice, and Chapix. For Thomas AC, Flick, and Anas, I'm not even sure what weapon it's about. It might be more about, nutrition, food, consumables, more about just expedition, compasses and whatnot. The equipment these guys have to use, the style of play they have to kind of work with will be the most creative and honestly the most mysterious. I'm not sure how they're gonna do and navigate this game.
I'm so scared right now for Thomas UC, Flick, and Anas. Most likely they stayed up here because they're still looking for tags, but because they stayed up here so long, that allowed Analyx's trio to move up. And don't forget, Kiko out there in Retail Row can make this rotation as well. Coming in 8th place, still opportunities for Kiko to get into that top 5, so don't count them out as well. Some valuable Storm Search tags here, but they wish they had a box fight or some kind of drop contention so they could move already and dead side rotate north towards Steamy Stacks. And this is not where you want to be versus Thomas HC, Flick, and Anas. No way.
I'll have an eye on everyone moving in. I think one of the most benefiting things from moving late is you get to move past people's bases, get a better spot, understand how people are rotating and moving. And Lex has moved past and over as well. And I realize now for these guys, if we're keeping that medieval theme, it's more so a guillotine they set up. Always a slow setup to see where they go. But once they have that rope all the way, set up towards the top, they're ready to go and chop. It's big for them. They get height. It takes a long time, like a trebuchet, like a big cannon to load. It takes a long while for them to really set up, but they have such big firepower when they get there. It looks so good. So will they have a chance to prep is the question. With the zone, absolutely yes. You just mentioned it. Analyst is moving by, right? Hen has zone as well. Badil and O'Reilly are still on the hunt. There's all these variables they can't control that might interrupt them on their charge.
It just feels like I'm watching like a marathon. You're seeing everybody literally on your TV screen running together at the same pace. They're like right next to each other. Again, 11 points separating so many of the big names. They're all right now, as you see, Janice, Hen, and Chapix picking on iDrop, Savage, and Tayson, who are making such a crazy rotation. I don't know if they're going to have a lot here, but it just shows you how valuable vehicles can be. We had some great breakdown from the NA East desk, breakdown how vehicles have been such a big factor in the season. Just allows a lot of flexibility, but still at the same time, man, couple of shots could explode your ride here, just like Hen, who has been exploding here today. He's leading all players with 28 elims, and he's been posting some nasty snipes here on the socials here. But this engagement is going to be big, considering that is the Reboot trio coming in 33rd place in this fight. Hey, they were there in the in-game. They're in 14th place right now. Still have an opportunity to make some big-time money for them here today.
Hen versus Noah Riley and Vidil right now. They're taking shots. Talking about cars, this one might lose a tire here real quick. 1,000 damage out for these guys. Noah Riley's out.
Taking a look at the feed, Benji and Matzo are in this fight as well against Pink's trio. Looks like Benji may survive that fight. The top 5 is now in engagement now. We have the Deals trio going up against the duo of Noah Riley, who's out already. It's going to be up to Vidil here. The duo here. This is going to be a big box fight, Shio. Big box fight right now. $100,000 box fight happening right in front of our eyes here. Reason trying to do his best to survive this pressure. Coming in from Hen, Janice, and Chapix here. The way Vidil now, doing it all its best in the metals, holding on. This is a big defensive play from this duo here, and Reason gets sniped in the back. Reason gets hit, and that's going to be a big-time flaw right now. And Vidil's going to have to do all that he can to hold on. This is second place in shambles, now being pressured by first place here. The deal doing all that he can to hold on, going through all of his hard mats, retreating back to old builds, trying to find a moment to breathe here. $100,000. Big chug splash, giving him a moment here. He's gonna need that purple tag to do some big damage here to stop the pressure, but it may be just a little bit too much here for this great decorated player from the EU region. They're not gonna let him go, Shio. There's no way. They know who's in front of them. They understand that this is gonna be a big opportunity to slow down somebody that's gonna try to catch them. Janice, Hen, Chapix, get the second place team out of this match. Gone. Lobbied. Adios.
It's now a head-to-head matchup between first and third. And they have a big boost with some elim points now all the way towards the top. They're on their own special little island. Everyone else is about 30 points, 40 points away. So we'll see how they match up. Still have to move to zone.
Benji is gone. Second and fifth place, gone.
And it's such a phenomenal comeback. A pop-off in that last game too. So a chance for Sunny, Kemi, and Teak to rise as well. The most important thing right now, with Vidil gone, with Benji gone, a lot of these teams that take up the points, even if just one of them is alive in the end game, aren't here. This is more room for Janice to work with. This is a lot of space for Thomas to control. It's a chance for both these teams to gain a majority of the points. Trainer goes almost down. Is that towards Flick? No, he doesn't get the elim credit. Every point matters right now. Squishy in zone. They have a perfect kind of spot on looking towards him, but Flick's not looking there. He has to walk by and he gets beat from the backside. On his walls, it's all good though for him. He's shelling. He knows that Wishy's still in zone. He can get that shot looking over at Pink as well. The RPG trio has had a reverse explosion the entire day, and they found one tag and cracked the shields of Pink. It's definitely possible for them to wrap it up. Bush is also trying to get straight into the zone here too. Having trouble. Mexi and Michael with Verox on the walls. Flicking off Thomas HD. They are in the dirt right now.
And it was no doubt Pink's trio that kind of tripped up Amplify, Matzo, and Benji. Pink being the last remaining battle. Only looking at the feed, Cammy and Teak getting knocked here. That's gonna be big. That's sixth place going down. That gives a huge opportunity for Michael's trio to move up the board, for Kiko to move up the board, and Miro, who are still in this fight, as Cammy, Teak, and Seti have been knocked out of this round. Gone.
But back on ice, they had such a good first day. Now, in the second round, in the second day, actually, just only had one game with it, though they bounced all the way back. Maxi, Michael, Verox for their chance to just climb up the rankings twice here. And Lex, Nazy, and Squeeze are free too to climb towards the top. If they end up winning this game, they could potentially steal the title too, but a win is what they'll need. And against these top two teams, that is not possible.
Still, some phenomenal runs from the best of the best in the EU region. Tip of the hat to Vidil, Noah, Riley, and Reason. Tip of the hat to Amplify, Matzo, and Benji. Great, phenomenal gameplay. Tip of the hat to Seti, Cami, and Teague. Build on those experience that you've had in day one. And no doubt, next season, you have a great chance to being the best of the best. But we still have 3 chances here. Hen, Janice, Chapix, Flick, Thomas, Anas, Andelix, Snazy, Xweez in this fight. Opportunity to walk away with the lion's share of over $1 million up for grabs. Going down here as we're getting into zone 4 to 5.
The recipe, the ingredients, they're there. For Flick and Thomas HD, 177 damage above Surge. They're locked down on it. Now all they need is a good zone for endgame, some nice position, and high ground. It'll be wraps.
Michael has to do all that he can to survive. Michael is the last remaining member of that team here, sitting in 7th place, doing what he can. A bouncer to get as much money out the pot as much as possible here. Michael does not survive as Andelix closes out that story with his beans.
Storm and Surge gets active as well. We'll see which teams are affected by it. No one here right now. Andelix and Anas, the same box, one on top of another. It is the one down below who takes that lead, but they'll be moving in tandem, side by side, and I feel like Andelix will deny any type of height take that Guild Gamer Trio wants to make too, so they'll be kind of impeded for now. Still, everyone in this game so close. 51 players still alive. We've hit the placement threshold as well. Chapixen and Janice make their move.
It's going to be a lot of room to move here. It's getting closer and closer to Steamy Stacks. There's nothing like a Steamy Stacks in-game. You're going to see so many people going up and down if it goes more north here of this 5th zone. But it looks like Chapixen and Janice making a great rotation. No eyes on them. Look at it. Look at the arrows in front of them. They have no eyes and no sights, and all they see is backside. So you have the opportunity here to sneak on in and get some valuable tags. But at the same time, I don't think tags are short for them right now. Yeah, Hin's hitting some big-time shots.
He took a big snipe straight towards the back as he was moving in. Yeah. Big shields as well over there. And look at the mats they have to use to get here, Sancho. No hard materials on Chapix. He gave a few up left and right. They're kind of going through their reserve to get to the spot. If zone bounces back, huge for them. Where are Flick, Anas, and Thomas HD? Where's Andelix? How are they looking too? Side by side in the same boxes. It's Tayson, Savage, and iDrop who have height right now. And it's not going to be Benji there to stop them this time in terms of having a box fight side by side. They're not going to be on low where they're in trouble. Miro is though alongside Blackie, and Nas Thomas HD have height on a different side, but max zone. And it pulls towards the stacks. Disaster for Flick, Thomas, and Anas. How will they make this rotation? I don't see any bouncers yet.
And Andelix's trio is in the same boat, the same situation. Remember, their neighbors are right next door. This is going to be, we saw a $100,000 box fight. Now we see a $100,000 rotation that's going to happen right in front of our eyes. You see Andelix and Snazy went out in front of them. Now the lobby focus is real. Brick metal to hold it back as much as possible. Anything impossible. This is a dangerous bounce. They survive. They get some big tags on DKS, but DKS is now going down, but there's some big lobby focus for a moment here. The hard mats come out. They slow down that rotation. So far, they still have a lot of work to do. They're still on the backside. It's very dangerous for Flick, Thomas, and Nas here. They're still wanting some fights here. They understand it. DKS getting some big hits. Blackie, Thomas HD, he's in trouble. No shield. That's almost not there on Nas, Flick, and Thomas HD. So far, survivors. But look at it, Shio. The tree slows them down, but so much siphon's coming through that fight. Flick is running as much as possible to get in. This is such a crazy rotation, and they're surviving. How? And now they're in the low ground in a decent tarp here. Thomas HD got ahead and built beautifully for them, but can they survive considering that they're on the backside and they don't want to be there here, considering that they're teetering, holding on to their placement.
This is not off spawn. This is an end game. This should not be allowed, but they made it possible. And now they have to find a way to get towards the front side of this entire big tarp going on in the stacks. It actually bounces back the whole way. 15 HP on the Flick. Anas is holding on by a thread. This team is weak, and they have no shields. They did a miracle at this point to bring it back. Flick edited it down. They'll control low ground, but one wrong flip, one wrong spot, and they're going to be an absolute disaster.
we have first and second place here on that POV that you're seeing here. First on top, second place on bottom. Basically separated by about 10 points or so here. So every elim is going to matter for Flick Thomas and HD. They're going to need to catch up in some way as they're now operating in shambles.
They found their way up in a better layer right now, but still Savage, eye drop and Tayson control height. Don't take a majority of the points. Thomas gets big flipped on, but I think they almost find an elim. Yes.
Oh, no.
Anas kind of gets it, but Flick is down. Thomas is down, and Anas is wiped. Their run stops there, and the first place team, I believe, is still alive.
They're still alive, but Analex's trio is still alive as well. They're going to have to make up a little bit of gain here. As Han's getting tagged, Chapik is getting tagged, and they find some saving grace in the steamy stack. They're able to fly up it and slow down that pressure from the backside. And wow, what an unbelievable feeling right now. They are in the air gliding and may be able to glide up for a way for a championship.
They go all the way up top and then fly down straight towards the bottom. Very smart rotations. If they go too high, might get beamed. Cisse is the full finish waiting to happen, but no one can grab it. Everyone's been thrown off the stack. They're now down and towards the middle of the actual steam and bounce back. The builds won't land. Savage goes down. Was that fall damage? I'm not sure, but Chapix is there to actually touch foot. He finds a way to get a little bit of reality inside this entire field of gravity. Ooh. And there's no way for him to even land these shots. It's so difficult, so hard, so many eliminations here too for this trio. They're looking to take the European Championship straight home.
It's just going to be a matter of moments before we crown them. Look at them. They're not only going to walk in with style, but they're going to do it with so much pizzazz as well. They were surviving that crazy steamy stack finish here. They no doubt are now going in, and they're going to get some more tags. They're not happy with just the victory. They want to do it with a big time statement.
And with that elimination, it will be a 2v2 all the way towards the very end. Seen it multiple times today, but this is for the lock-in. Big retake by Hen, unstoppable. And now dropping down onto iDrop with the big shot. 1, 2, 3 to the head. He's insane. Hen and Janice, alongside Chapix, have done it. The champions of Europe.
Oh my goodness, they did it. Janice being a two-time FNCS champion and Hannah Chapix walking away with it. What a finish, Shia. What an unbelievable ride. And congratulations to that trio. We all know that Hen has always been doing well. We all know that Janice has been here before, but awesome shout out to Chapix as well, man. I'm calling it early. You know what I mean? I'm calling it early, but we've been here. We had a front row seat to that entire finish.
And we can look at it too. Need to make it official on the screen. Dominant performance. Those are the syllables associated with this game. Hen, Janice, and Chapix. An average placement of 9.67, 72 eliminations, 3 victory royales, and a total of 311 points. They are your champions of Chapter 2, Season 5.
Congratulations, you walk away with that Axe of Champions, but more importantly, $300,000 wow, $100,000 a piece. Quick maths, but Shio, man, 12 games done. A whole season done.
It's 12 of the most insane games. I wouldn't want it to end any other way. The predictions from the desk too are absolutely accurate going through as well. That's huge. Shout outs to them and shout outs to you guys for watching alongside us. Party Royale on your phone, at home, on remote, wherever you are. It was an insane 6 games, and that's it here from me and Sancho.
Wait, before we go, Shio, I just wanted to thank you, dude, for being an awesome co-caster to work with. We grew so much, man. You've been so generous, and shout outs to you, man. Thank you so much, Shio. Thank you, and thank you all for watching. That was awesome.
Thank you so much. We'll toss it back over to the desk. They'll have to break down exactly what that insane game was. The best game of all time for Fortnite.
We are absolutely going to break that down. But first, Fortnite fam, if you're not following Sancho, Shia Wager, Reese, or Levin, all of these human beings are absolutely incredible. Top tier. Please take a moment and give them a follow and send them some love. Wow. This game, boys, you called it. You came in, you knew. You've known since not even game 1 of yesterday. You guys said this is the trio to watch. And now I think the best part is to see Janice, your invitational champion. He gets to come back and win. And now he will be able to hold that Axe of Champions alongside Chapix, alongside Hen. This trio has worked so hard And this is what I talked about coming into this, just sitting back and saying, look, this game is just any other game. We just need to do everything we do, and we can walk away with the Axe of Champions. 310 points, 3 victory royales, and 66 eliminations, Reese.
I think they checked into the stream and listened to your motivational speech because they absolutely performed. And what style as well. Winning their last game, picking up the victory royale with 9 eliminations in what was an incredibly wacky end game, going through steamy stacks, flying over. And, you know, let's be real. These guys have been good since their inception as a trio. You know, Hen and Chapix absolutely popping off. We've seen them, you know, some of their earlier achievements in the season doing really well across the region in NA East, you know, popping off in high paying, coming in solo cash cups performing, trio cash cups never being below 5th place, coming first in their qualifier. There's almost endless achievements for these guys this season. And let's be real, Janice is going to be really, really happy because he didn't manage to get that Axe of Champions coming out of first place invitational as it was not introduced at that point. So now he's finally gone back onto that and has it in his hands now.
Yeah, I am just so amazed, man. These guys have been so impressive, right? You know, I've highlighted the fact that it took them so long to find that perfect third, right? You know, they was hunting and searching for the third, and I was concerned. I was wondering, were they going to be able to find that person who was going to be able to match sort of the talent these guys had? And they found Janice, right? And speaking of Janice, right, he left the trio that came 2nd place, right? You know, he literally left the trio who was looking like they could have won FNCS themselves. And what a risk it was worth taking, because he's now just picked up another FNCS title and in spectacular fashion, winning that final game. It's a thing of dreams. Honestly, it is a thing of dreams. I am so happy for these guys.
A huge congratulations to them. And, you know, we heard Sancho say there, that was $100,000 box fight going on, but we saw really that's $100,000 snipe going in, and anything can happen at that point. We've seen that little replay come back, and that was the kind of catalyst that allowed Hen's team to keep picking on up, you know, keep the pace up and keep things moving, because we saw them in second. You know, we've talked a lot about Hen, Janice, and Chapix. They've been performing, but there's been a ton of other teams who've been up there in the leaderboards all throughout the weekend as well.
Honestly, looking at this episode, this is the best thing we've had, right? This is honestly, in terms of Fortnite competition, this has been the best thing we've had since the World Cup, right? Like, this has been absolutely ridiculous. You know, we need to look back. When we look back at this in a couple months' time, couple years' time, we're going to look at this as one of the most dominating performances over the course of a season of any team in Fortnite ever. These guys, like you've said it so many times, in every competition they've played, they've not come less than top 5. Like that, you know, this isn't, you know, chumps we're talking about here. This isn't a team that's had a good day by any means. This is who they are. They are genuinely just on a different level. Anybody out there who's watching this and wants to be a competitive Fortnite player, anybody that wants to improve at the game, you need to be watching these guys, right? I'm showing everybody who these guys are because they are just ridiculous, man.
Yeah, an incredible performance for them all the way through every single game this week. You know, they managed to take 5 games where they came top 3, playing the format absolutely perfectly. You know, 3 of those being victory royales. Remember, when they get top 3, that's the big placement point. So these guys have mastered it, right? Whatever these guys play in, they perform. Already mentioned, you know, solo cash cups, trio cash cups, DreamHack, where it's duos, anything in FNCS, trios. These guys know how to play the format so well. You know, they've done it over and over again, and that's why they're in this first place slot. You know, it's so rare, I think, to find a team that comes out of the start of the season being so good, and they just continue that all the way through. And, you know, at the end of that first day, we saw Kamisei and Teak being in the first place slot. And, you know, I was kind of thinking, you know, although they were close behind, I think, you know, Kamisei and Teak were being so consistent. But then at the start of this day, you know, it was obvious. It was Hen, Janice, and Chapix season. Let's be real.
Look, I love telling people this story, right? At the beginning of last year, I made one of those lists, right? I made one of those lists where you say, you know, I think these are the people who are going to pop off this year, right? And that was at the beginning of 2020, and I left Hen off that list, right? As soon as I posted the list, I joined his stream, and he said, Levin, I'm going to prove you wrong. I'm upset that you didn't put me on that list. I'm going to prove you wrong, right? And it's been a year, but he's now an FNCS champion. Did he prove me wrong? Boy, he did. Oh man, the journey watching these guys develop and evolve as players, man. Chapix, right? He's somebody who's unlocked a new form, right? We've seen Chapix in the past be an impressive competitive player, but he's turned into one of the best players in the world, and just their development's been crazy. I'm just dumbfounded, man. It's insane.
Their development has been crazy. Let's take a step back for a second though. We've praised them. These guys gods among men, right? But Flick, Anas, and Thomas HD, second place. Huge performances for them through the weekend as well. Can't congratulate them enough. And then on top of that, Vidil, Noah, Riley, and Rezon in third. We've seen the kind of dominance they've had. These top 3 teams have all qualified through to next season's finals as well. So huge congratulations to all these teams. Honestly, one of the best weekends of Fortnite I've ever seen.
100%, Reese. And now we have come to the end of the EU broadcast for Chapter 2, Season 5 FNCS Finals. Fortnite fam, we love you guys so much. It is an honor to be here to hang out with such talented individuals who pour their heart and soul into this game. To the players, congratulations. And we'll be seeing you guys next FNCS for more Fortnite action. But if you want more, don't forget, we've got NA East for another 6 games. We've got NA West for another 6 games. So make sure you come back because we've got more Fortnite action coming your way. To all you at Party Royale, keep on emoting because you know we see it. And as always, Fortnite fam, till next time, we'll see you guys on the Battle Bus.
Beep, beep.
This is Agent Jones requesting access to restricted file 8752. This is Agent Jones requesting access to restricted file 8752. Oh, really? No time to stabilize reality, but plenty of time to revoke my credentials. This is Agent Jones requesting access to all materials related to the 7. Oh, great! Okay, if you're not going to give me what I need, I'm just going to have to take it.